See you guys.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, welcome in 2 o'clock. That means a couple hours left in the trading session. Welcome to the close. We'll take you right through to the end of the day and yet another negative session developing here as we head towards that all-important inflation reading on Friday morning. The market, as I said to Arun this morning, stuck in a box right now and refusing to go anywhere, I guess, before this happens tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a resolution one way, either direction really would be good at this point. 0.5% there for the S&P in negative territory. It's the NASDAQ leading though, 0.6 to the downside, 0.4 there for the Dow in the red as well. Top to bottom pretty much outside Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, you look at this board, it doesn't look like a lot is going on, but individual names definitely giving you all kinds of opportunities throughout the session today. Another red board to look at for the S&P 500 here. Pretty much all sectors to the downside today. The consumer discretionary names are kind of break even at this point, even with big moves today in some of the travel names, including the cruise lines, really negative. 7.5% for CCL, RCL almost 6%, win in LVS there, coming along for the ride as well, 4 or 5%. For both. NXPI down here with a big move today to the upside. Reports this morning suggesting Samsung might be kicking the tires on NXPI. FTNT on a stock split higher today. Otherwise, tech stocks to the downside. Moderna gives it all back and then some. Was higher the past couple of days on some positive vaccine news, but back to the downside in a big way. Almost 8%. For Moderna, VRTX 4% below it there. Healthcare stocks are red. Industrials are red. Not a big move for industrials, but worth a note. Communication stocks, some of the streaming names on here under pressure today. WBD, Paramount, Netflix lead 3.5 to 4.5% there. Everything, it's the same old, really. Consumer staples popping up here a little bit positive. Costco having a nice day. Worth a note there, 3% higher for Costco. There is a little bit of strength coming through from Chinese names once again. That started things off a little bit positive, but have given that back. But there it is, NXPI, FTNT. I mean, Costco's down here, Tesla's here, Starbucks, Baidu, PDD, as I said, JD, all back to the downside. Yeah, it's one of those days. Hope your afternoon is going well. As I said, we'll take you through to 4 o'clock. We'll get into some of the opportunities available to you at the open this morning that we talked about if you joined us in the pre-market. So many ideas this morning, including NIO, including Tesla was higher, if you remember, still is, but giving some of it back. Tesla was higher on that UBS upgrade today and positive Chinese data, but we're going to get into the first review. Here comes Neil.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk Amazon today. Trust me, I'm going to go over PBTS and we're going to talk about some of these big movers. But Amazon was one of these trades this morning where I think there's a lot to be able to learn from. I know Sean and I were both looking at this one off a very key level. Now, keep in mind, post-split, you had the hype. Everyone wanted to buy in front of it, but it's a sell the news event. Not a lot of things have changed fundamentally. Sure, you might get some call selling, you might have some options action, which can cause a little bit more price movement, but really, it just feels like the air got let out of it. Now, there's only a couple of days post-split that we're going to be looking at here. Obviously, we were looking at 124 before, got the 15-minute chart up because we're really just looking at a couple of sessions worth. Now, we did have a good loose support level, and I'm using the word loose for good reason, at 121. That's what we're eyeballing. You can also have a look, if you have a daily chart up, you can watch around that 2400 level. 24.25 was relatively big. That's about that same 121 price when you consider the split. So considering the fact that the market was looking weak this morning, I mean, short bias was for a lot of people going to be in there. You're thinking about that resistance level. Now, the thing about a loose price area, and that's sort of the interesting thing, because at the open, there were some good scalp trades, and I think we're both looking at scalping the bottom to make sure that we caught some of this in case you got that market pop. The truth of the matter is, when you have summertime markets, throw in the opening rush, there is volatility with lower liquidity. And at the open, you're really feeling that. So you're getting a lot of these big wick candles where you have to sort of be patient and wait for it to test your level. Otherwise, it's so easy to get stopped out. So initial candle just goes right to the upside. It's like, wait a minute, let's hold off. We did get some in that same channel. I had actually an entry back here on 20. So we got 20 a couple of times and scalped out off that 119.50. We then had one entry right before the open. It spikes, tests our 121. Here's the key thing. That's a nice little wick off top failure. So favorite setup, pop and fade. It fails off that 120, allow it to come back down, and then grab the short where you're able to lie. Now, when we do get the flush back into support at 119.5, it's essentially giving you $1 at that point, but you know there have been buyers at that level. So allow it to bounce. Initially take it when it tries to curl at the second low or second lower high, but once it decides it wants to make another run at 121, allow it to come up, test 121, another fail, and this is when you jump back into it. Now, there's one mistake that got made here, and that was getting some out at VWAP. Right? Should not have had this exit here. That should always be held for that 119.50 area. And then we talk about opportunity costs all the time. And there is nothing, I will tell you this right now, there is nothing you can do worse than have 3 or 4 good ideas out there and then have the hot chick or new kid on the block come and take your attention away. It's the worst thing ever, because what was I looking at short? Amazon, Novavax, and Bilibili. Instead, that PBTC or whatever the heck it is went nuts, and I get distracted away from it and do not take this softball trade to get a re-entry off of 121. And then you see it flush right back, giving you that range in a 119.50. Now, at noon, when it holds the low here, I kind of usually have this rule. When I do a pop and fade trade, if we hold that low till lunchtime, I tend to think it's going to make a bit of a bounce. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to go. Let's just get it out. The market's been range bound. We're not breaking those lows. And I get out of all of it. Should have held on to it, because here's the key thing about how weak Amazon is today. Taking out that bottom, ES, NASDAQ, holding them lows. We're still actually at the range while this is breaking through the bottom. That sometimes gives you an idea of the overall relative weakness of a name like Amazon. I understand everyone was excited about that split, couple of days into it. There's just been these shelves. It just cannot get past. It was 124, now it's 121. Rejections of those prices. However, if you use the hard stop, 121.01, you couldn't have had this trade. You had to allow it to test that level and fade, give it a little bit of room, be willing to hold on to it a little bit longer. But more importantly, and I'll say it openly, don't get distracted away from the more important names, right? Because what will happen is you'll have something planned out, and then you can just work off that all day long. Like, you could still be playing this, maybe not to 121, but even down off that 120.50 area. You could still be playing this to the south side when you've got yourself a good directional bias. That's the type of market we're in. A lot of times during summer, you're going to have things slow down. You want to make sure you're getting the most out of the stocks that are actually moving.
Even a stock split can provide you with a week's worth of catalyst when it comes to Tony Tuesdays. That's not what I was going to talk about, but there you go. Tony can't get enough of the screen today. Federal prosecutors announcing a criminal investigation into Wells Fargo right now in their hiring practice. So it's the New York Times reporting this, guys. So big spike to the downside there on WFC on volume. Wasn't a huge move overall, but heads up on Wells Fargo. There's also MOBQ just popped up on a volume spike as well. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of these interesting names from this morning as well. I mean, Tesla, as I said, came off a little bit back to the downside here on volume as well. Overall, a choppy day. Back and forth we go ahead of what appears to be a very important announcement coming tomorrow morning.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, you got a fever. What's up, Jason? I got a fever. The only prescription is more Tony. Well, tomorrow on this exact desk, it'll be Neil and Tony rocking the afternoon show. So that should be a lot of fun for everybody. Welcome to the closing show. It should be a good one once again here today. We're super excited for tomorrow, obviously, with that CPI coming out. Should be a banger for us once again. But here's my Amazon. Neil's did a great job, and we basically had all the same trades, except for I'm still holding on to a little piece here as we take down 118.50, right? The sticky note today banged out Baba, banged out AMZ and Amazon as well, and the Apple short. And we're still in this name as it's basically cratering. I mean, we knew all about Amazon. Prad said the other day, like, will it see 100 again? I don't know about that, but I even said today that we would probably see this 117, 118 area. So glad to be still holding on to this one. $2.50 in the money. And I am right now looking at AMD as well. We just bottom picked the crap out of that one. Look at this fill that we have on AMD. Like, it's almost like these are fake, but They're not. So $100.56. Like, that's my long here today on AMD when the bottom is 53. So not bad right there on that. We were just absorbing that into, and again, another one right on the sticky note today. What does it say? Watch out for AMD down to that $100 level, right? So there it comes down in. We take it. Now the risk to reward well paying off here. We continue to go to the upside on that one. So Amazon short. Oh, and we just went back in to Baba. We're going to talk about all these, so I don't want to ruin the little rundown here, which is probably just every single stock I just talked about. But Alibaba also today, 118 pin. We had that short a bunch of times. The only problem with this is, and this is why I'm sick to my stomach right here, is that we got out of this on VWAP at 116. So we only took $2. It dropped all the way back down, and now we're reloaded into the long here. Wow, that went down to 118.80, eh? Okay. And we're long right now. I should have reloaded back there. I have a bid. Well, what happened there? 111.70 I was sitting at. It went to 75. Okay. Anyways, we're going to hold the rest of Alibaba here. I think the trend may have turned a little bit. Obviously, we're above the 50 period, but we're not going to hold this through 111.50 if it comes back in. So nice little trade here on Alibaba. AMD and Amazon still working out.
And just quickly here, I want to talk about, if I can, Redbox. This thing's going again. I mean, like Ian, I got to credit Ian and Tony for doing a fantastic job today.
Yes.
They were unbelievable, man. Just going on for 3 hours, dropping science, dropping knowledge. It was amazing. And I'll give the assist because I just heard them say, well, I heard Ian say specifically, he's like, Redbox is going again. I pulled it up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a pretty significant volume spike. I remember what this daily chart looks like. And breakouts for some of these, and we'll talk about that PBTS and some of these others, how they've been going. And if you look at the breaks as opposed to the dip buys, right? You know, some of those have just been not as good when you take the clean breakout. And I see this at 11.20 for a bit of a double top. But really, I think the case here is about the wick off bottom at $9. Like the reason why I'm in the long off of VWAP here is because of the wick off bottom at $9. The consolidation break, I actually did try to grab this, but there actually wasn't a ton of liquidity when you try to get a 960 break here. So, and I didn't chase it up far enough. It's a $9 stock. I'm thinking cross 3 cents will be good enough. It actually has a 3-cent spread. This stock. So you got to cross like 5 to 10 cents if you want to get in. But that should have been the break. Instead, I grabbed some 10 break and then the dip back into VWAP. And we'll see if it gets to the high of the day. Now, what I can do is take some out in front of the high of the day next and then see if we can hold through to that 11 to 11.20 area. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. But it's got a nice volume spike that you guys can't see because of the position board. It's got a nice volume spike for this move, right? It's not as big as it was at the open, but a lot of volume just came in there. That wipeout bottom, $9, holding that level, and now trying to go. So if we can hold VWAP here, I think it's got a chance. Now, it's not guaranteed that it does so, but we've seen it squeeze in the past, and there's been, 1 or 2 squeeze plays today that have gone parabolic.
This one trying right now, but not succeeding. The monkeypox stocks just popping up here. More cases being reported throughout New York City, apparently. So there was a huge volume spike there. Right back to the downside, though. So nothing to see here. Let's talk about Alibaba because that was a big story this morning in the pre-market. We mentioned the Ant IPO or the potential reemersion of the Ant IPO. The regulator in China saying they haven't reviewed anything. Then there was multiple reports saying they've already approved another Ant IPO, but back to the downside anyways, guys, for Baba.
If there's one thing that's annoying about Alibaba, it's that the levels were so ridiculously clean on Baba today that somehow it's like, I held nothing, but everything was so absurdly clean. I'm not really, look at the bottom. It's like a triple or quadruple bottom, depending on how you want to look at it. It's really a triple bottom because that wick is nonsense, at about 113. So when it bounced off that at the open, all I was thinking about was your 117 level and just 118. Short it, play it back to 115, higher low, reverse it at 117 into 118. Now it's giving you dollar scalp trades back and forth, but it's so easy to get married to that notion. Like, oh yeah, it's just feeding you $1 and forget the sheer volatility that it put in before. So on a $100 stock, you're usually thinking it's good if it's a buck back both ways. I'm like, oh man, clean shorts, $1.50, clean longs, $1.20. But remember what it did yesterday. If it picks a direction off these levels, it's just going to go. So when it got to 113, I wasn't even really considering what I should have been saying, which that floor breaks, this stock was a breakout at 110. That's $3 worth of a move to the downside. And then it goes right to the 110 breakout, which, I mean, I know everyone remembers that, how far it ran, which was unexpected at the time as well yesterday, and then bounces $3 again, and it's right at that 113 level. So any guesses what I'm thinking at 113? I'll probably short it here. It just feels like these levels have been respected so cleanly on Alibaba, which is kind of the opposite of yesterday because it was such a ridiculously strong trend. But today, definitely the story has been, just look at those keys, 113, 117, 118, coming to that 13 right now.
All right, guys, let's just go. Good idea on this. Yes, sir. Alibaba, we're in the money $1 right now on Alibaba long. Like, we play this thing like a fiddle once again here today. We're also long AMD. All these trades, this long, the AMD long, everything that I'm in right now has been given to you guys completely for free. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, everything. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes real quickly on this show. But yeah, there's 118. I can show the sticky note again, but you know, enough self-promotion on that one. Also on Instagram, by the way, right now. And yeah, there it is right there. A nice little take on 118 short. The problem is we only took 116, but we have faith in Alibaba. We went back long on a 112 break and just took some out at 113. We now have 25% left of this position. It seems like a little bit less than that, but I wonder if we had more outs there. But we will take a reload. I'm not sure, though. It's coming back into 112. We break through 112. We're going to get out of this one, but that's Alibaba. Nicely done to the upside. What we wrote on the sticky note was quite simple, man. It was too far, too fast. And I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. Like, Alibaba just was $92 all the way up yesterday to 122. They come in today on some negativity from the Ant possible IPO there. And then that news gets sort of batted around back and forth. And then right now, you know, we just wanted to go long, relieve some pressure. Yesterday, Alibaba was up like 13, 14%, maybe even more than that by the end of the day. But today, you're giving back a decent portion of that, down 6. And we were down a lot more than that at 109. But we nailed dead to rights that 118, man. And unfortunately, we got out at 116.27. So that really sucks. But anyways, big move to the downside. Now you're trying to ride this 50 period on the way up. So any sort of a breach of that. And if you're going to look at why did I get out there at 113, I mean, just look right here, 113, right? Yes. So we take the long at 112. We are like, okay, if this goes, first level's out right into here in the 50s. So we do that, and then 113 out. Now it's coming back in. We'll get out of the rest on a 112 break. But so far, so good on this play. And then right now, AMD also, let's go, man. AMD turning heads right here, trying to get back to Greensville. We just talked about that, Phil. We just took another out right there on the way back up. So give this one like 30 or 40 cents of downside pressure there to break through 100, and now you're up about $1. So another risk to reward right here on AMD. And Amazon, yeah, no worries here. Let's see where this can go. I'm debating getting out on a 119 break, to be honest with you. This is already $2 in the money. It's $2.50 in the money right now, this AMD short off of right here. We held it. We held about more than that, about 20% or so of this position, maybe more. But now it's come back down. Nice trade. Normally we'd have got out right here, but we hold through that 119.50 break, and we don't get rewarded all the way because we don't get out at 118. But I'm debating just standing there. I feel like we could get this, Phil, if we're lucky enough to do that. So good trading today on Baba, needless to say.
Just quickly, guys, Stitch Fix on a big move here, 10% to the downside on heavy volume. They just announced they're going to reduce their workforce by 15%. So Stitch Fix getting sold pretty hard. Let's go on to NIO. 6% move to the downside currently for NEO. Trying to get higher, though, currently, back above 19 off earnings.
Yeah, I mean, actually, first things first. I mean, you talked about 113 there. Sean got out. I just finished saying 113 short. It went 113 to 112 half, and then it's probably going to go to 112. If it bounces in that dollar range the rest of the afternoon, I mean, it's just going to behoove you to take the it's just going to be worth your while to have that trade over and over again. And remember, I talked about opportunity costs. So it wasn't. I said only 2 names. You can add NEO to that list as well. While I was messing around with that stupid PBTS. And NEO was another one I liked to the short side. And it was 1950 was my out for NEO. Short in front of it, I got the 25s. We got the 1-to-1. I stopped it out, and then look what happens. It does a little bit of a tick above, gets like 10, 15 cents above that price, rejects it, and then was just a short off of that level for the rest of the day. Now it's getting back there now, so I guess if we spike far enough, we'd be looking back toward that same high on NIO. Now, overall, I mean, 6% to the downside after their earnings, which, look, the thing is, it's not like the earnings were that bad. They certainly didn't guide all that well. It has probably more to do with the market sentiment than anything else, and quite frankly, where NIO had come from, because you almost doubled from the bottom on NIO, and it looked like you were breaking out that 50 period. It's just sometimes you've run a little bit too strong into something like that, and you really need to blow things out to really have anything but a sell the news type of event. So, you know, it ended up being 1950-ish, that area. I think if it pops again, you give it a little bit more room to like 60 or 65 for this afternoon to try to fade it. But overall, it's really just this. Like, imagine that this didn't even happen. Like that one day that we had on Tuesday. You know, is that Tuesday? No, sorry, that's yesterday. Yeah, just it's almost like this didn't happen. You have a previous high here that just evaporated a day after, and then it's putting in the same top. So it's looking like it'll be that old head and shoulders, or whatever you want to call it, type of play. And that means your resistance is still spot on, just above 1950.
All right.
Back to day highs, one that the guys were talking about on the midday show a little bit. OLMA up 18%. Day highs on decent volume. There was a development deal they announced this morning for a cancer treatment. So just watch that. Tesla, back to the downside as well, was up this morning on a UBS upgrade following better than expected China manufactured car sales. So vehicles made in Shanghai, sold in China or throughout Europe, because some of them do go to Europe.
All right, quickly before we do that, I just want to say something on NIO as well. We were short all day, man, on this. We definitely got that 19, got out. Look at that bottom tick. We have 1850 right when the market opens. So, you know, we've been here a long time. So we know that NIO can do this right off the open. Some nice volatility, then another short at 1920 and all the way down and out right now. But NIO was a good one for me today. I didn't trade Tesla at all. I know Neil's been looking at that for the last couple of days. I've sort of picked my poison with other heavyweight techs, but this is another good one. I think Tesla up to 765. Geez, wow. That was a beautiful move upside there for Tesla today. Off of more good news. I mean, if you're going to talk about good news in the EV space, it's generally coming from one company, and that's going to be Tesla. So I consider, you know, this to be at this point. I keep like, every time it goes near that 700 mark, I'm like, man, I feel dumb for not selling some of this. But then you get days like today where you make these moves back to 780 and, you know, possibly are thinking, hey, maybe this is the one that gets back to all-time highs back up here near 1200. So we'll have to watch out for Tesla. But just on a minute chart, again, respecting this bottom here of 725. What just happened there? Oh, Baba went back down, so we got out of that one, so that's okay. After taking the dollar win, we get out for flat. Oh, no, actually, the last one was a win. Okay, but anyways, down here, 725 is definitely a location to look at for some strength in Tesla. It looks like we're coming down to that pretty fast right now. You could break this low of the day right here, 731. Look, heading into what is going to be CPI tomorrow, you just got to be careful with these high value names. Tesla still has a huge PE. It's still $735. It's been an amazing ride for this name, and I just feel like I want the whole Elon Musk stuff to settle down, and then we can look at Tesla a little more aggressively for me, anyways, as far as buying it. But I like the stock. I just don't trade it that often.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Tesla to be a long today. I said I'm looking for longs. Either it's off 725, that area that we supported yesterday, or if we get above 750, it's got room to break out. But the market, it doesn't matter how strong you are, right? Like Tesla's not gonna be able to rally and do it by itself. And it really did make that effort. And once it got above the 750, I was just taking long, scalping, maintaining the core position, taking long, scalping, maintaining the long. Like, it was pretty much long the entire way. It got to 65. I took some out there. And then when it came back, I did make the test at 50. That was probably a bit of a mistake, because I really liked that level, and then came back in on the wrong side of momentum. And the key thing about why, in my opinion, this didn't work, and obviously, who knows, like, it didn't work, so it doesn't really matter too much, but my opinion on why it didn't work is I initially was looking at 50 to 53 as a channel. And it bounced initially off 750, gave an out at 53, and then immediately snapped right back down. So it got into that little channel with resistance and then the pre-market high, and then tried to break out of it and immediately rejected it. That's not a place to reload. Like, if it goes into that channel, you want to get the long coming out of it, breaking back out of that channel, not jumping right in front thinking, oh yeah, it's lunchtime, huge reversal, yeah, let's just sit on the bid and get run over. But that's exactly what ended up happening. So I didn't need to do it. I did it anyways. And then I was never thinking short. And that's another thing. You get too much of a bias. The market said it was going to be short. And even though at the open I was willing to short when we held above 750, I wasn't willing to do it in the afternoon. And that's pretty clean, right? Like 748 right there, consolidation short, just like I was doing at the open when I tried to do the same thing. It could have been Bob's your uncle, hold the short all day long, but I had too much of a bias, I think, to the long side in Tesla, which isn't usually the case. Usually I really don't give a darn where it's going. As long as it's above or below key level, I'll trade it either direction. Not today. I just wasn't willing to get back into that short.
All right, day lows here, guys, for the overall market. Just watching some of the banks popping up on volume here, I guess at day lows as well. We're going to talk about tech stocks, but I just saw Wells Fargo starting to go again. If you missed it, there was a criminal investigation launched into their hiring practice for WFC. So banks in general under pressure at this point. But I put Apple separate here because there was the buy now pay later story that came out on Monday. Affirm, Block, SQ, both under pressure once again today. Huge move for Block to the downside on this BNPL news. But I mean, all of them kind of weak in general.
All right, we're going to go yes, sir, here because the first trade, unless Neil's traded it here, the first trade of Meta now on the show getting activated. So we're going to go long on Meta now, talking about. Okay, that was pretty good. We're long now at 50. It just popped into 80, so that was a quick 30 cents there. But we are activating Meta right now off this 189 bottom. I wish I would have saw that before. I didn't. I just went over to it right now. So Meta, you want to talk about big tech, man? Yeah, here we go. It has slid today on the name change from FB over to Meta. We're going to see if it can withstand some of these moves back in. Here we go right here. This is a 20-minute chart for old Facebook, now Meta. That little bottom right here of 188.50. Like that's the jam right there. We'll see if it can hold that. I mean, realistically, 188. So we're starting our trading now, but again, maybe it's a little too early. So let's scalp this out if we can get it. I just feel like if this market continues to be safe, I'm sick to myself right now that I'm not still short Apple, but you know, these kind of things happen. Just like Neil was saying, some trades are hold all day, and I just wish Apple was. I switched up my opinion on that, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I just feel like Meta right here against 188. So we'll start a really small position now. My next bid is 189.15. So I do think that we do have a potential to go to the downside. Hey, look, if this name starts going now, that's great, but it can fall back in here one more time. Look, on the sticky note, and it's not, I keep bringing it up, but it's because the ideas on here is what I'm trading with. So right here, Apple, still under 150 short. I mean, it's basically about as obvious as can be there. We talked about that AMD maybe coming into 100 right now. There's the Baba 118 short. I mean, that's the high of the day. NEO around 19. And then how about the Amazon short between 120 and 122? I mean, that's $3 in the money now on that exact call. So that's the sticky note also on Instagram and on Twitter. But Meta coming in, AMD coming in right now. I mean, the big caps lead the way. But if you're looking at Apple, I mean, we took the short against us in the morning. That's how much we liked it. We actually have the high of the day tick here in Apple as well, 147.80. So we have that tick in. We took it all the way to the downside. Excuse me, has an eyelash in my eye, I guess, in my pupil. But then it comes back down. We're still short. We average into the short here. It comes all the way down. We're in the money again. It's 145.85. We started the short at 148. So that's about $2.40 in the money. But then I'm thinking right here that bottom's going to hold of 145.90 or whatever this is. Silly me. So I go long here at 146.20 and 146 flat and dump it when we break that. So that sucked because I still want to be short this name. We're not, but there's Apple right now. We got dumped out. Comes down to 145. Honestly, on a daily chart, these levels aren't going to look like anything. On the minute chart, it's not going to look like anything. So let's just go over quickly to the 20-minute just to see where there's some possibilities. 144, if you're going to go long, is basically where I would do it. I mean, this is not rocket science. I'm just looking at a chart, trying to find areas of support and resistance. If you really thought we were getting close, 144.50 is right here as well. But if you can't, I mean, this is why there's no bigger tech than Apple, right? So this is why right here, why I think we keep going shorter on the NASDAQ and a lot of these names, because Apple has this 150 ping to it and it doesn't want to break. So there's going to have to be something coming out about why Apple deserves to go up another $4 or $5. When I see that, I'll completely change my rhetoric about this name. But for right now, I am shorting Apple every single day whenever it comes into these levels, 149 or 150. I want to be proven wrong on the upside. So let's see where we go here with Apple. And by the way, Neil, I don't know if you're going to talk about NVIDIA or just the market in general, but right now, like, because you were traded NVIDIA today, did you?
A little bit. Actually, no NVIDIA. I was talking about it, but it never really set up.
Yeah.
I didn't end up getting into it. I was going to talk about the market because and there's a good point you made about Apple. And look, let's be real. If you think the ES is breaking resistance without Apple getting above that 150, it would take a lot. Like you saw what happened today. Like Tesla was super strong this morning. Couldn't go without everything else. The ES is not going to get out of this channel, whether it's 4,200, 42.1. You're going to keep rubbing against that and rejecting it. Even the lower highs are rejecting as long as a name like Apple can't get going. But I did want to quickly I know we're talking, we're actually done. The rundown a little bit there, but there was something that was strong, a few other things that were strong today. Home Depot and Costco. I know when Brendan did the rundown, you would have seen Costco having a strong day today. Home Depot as well, just churned through 300, and sometimes we lose sight of these stocks, but 300 on Home Depot was a big level. I remember that. I wasn't there this morning to catch it off of 300, but it made about as clean a double top as you will see at 307. Sometimes it's not about, this is not rocket science. It's 307, double top, consolidation, fall to VWAP. The mistake, I think, here was actually tried a long when we bounced off VWAP thinking, okay, if the market bounces, we can get back to the high. But really, when in a downward market, care about support more than anything else, right? Like if you're a trending market up, be aggressive on dips because that's working. If you're in a trending market down, you don't want to be super aggressive on dips. You actually want to wait for consolidations where there's been price acceptance. And that was more down at 303 and not 304. 304 is where it broke out from. If I was going to try and catch this, I should have caught this at 303 if I think the market is going to bounce, which I can now wait for, but let it consolidate first. In a weak market, you'll short pops and just sort of sit in there on a bigger name. But in a weak market, you should also be more patient with your long ideas.
Polls, saw a few people still talking about KSS coming back to the downside a little bit here. Again, there wasn't an announcement of any sort on this deal finally getting done. It was simply that franchise group, who seems to be the front runner, had apparently secured a $2 billion loan from Apollo Group in order to finance this deal, which apparently is going to be $8 billion. So volume coming back in a little bit to the downside here for Kohl's, guys. But just to clarify, some people were still wondering what the deal is with KSS.
What is the deal with KS? It's also not like the board hasn't even accepted this thing.
Right.
So I think there's a lot to digest there. This is not a Twitter situation, man. Like you're not buying Kohl's and getting $60. Although I've said it like before, and the analogy I will use if the board doesn't accept the $60 for Kohl's is like they're going to pull a Yahoo. And like I don't remember the year because I'm old now, but I do remember when Yahoo was on the block and they're like, no, we're worth more than that. We're great. And it's like you didn't see the writing on the wall. There was mismanagement. Obviously, the mistakes were made, but you don't want to be in that position if you're Kohl's. It's insane. Like I actually think I would sooner buy Kohl's to hold for 60 than I would buy Twitter to hold for 54.20 because I actually can't imagine the board would screw this one up and not realize that they can get $60. And they've been making a lot of mistakes here, and that's a good return. It's been an absolute mess. If this falls through, like where do you think this is headed to? What's happening to some of these retail names? So we'll see, but just don't treat it like a done deal. It's more in that Twitter fear. Twitter space where this is a deal that has high risk of not being done. You don't know what the timeline is going to be. At least with Twitter, you do know the timeline. A lot of risk still involved with this. So, there's a play to be made if you like the long and want to hope out for $60. But it's not even close to the finish line here.
Just in case you guys are wondering, I'm just tweeting it out right now. We are now officially out, so we'll go cannons alert for this one. Actually, you know what? Where's me firing off hot dogs? That's been a long time for that one. I think that just got pulled away from here. Yeah, I don't have the hot dog cannon anymore, but it's money bags right here. As there it goes, Amazon comes out of the pocket right here. Big win. Shout out to SneakerCon if you're watching. I know that you were talking to me about Amazon earlier as well right there, but there it is to the downside goes Amazon. Out of it now off this 121. So we'll post it. We're pretty happy about this play. Amazon to the downside. Let's just get out of it now. I mean, the NASDAQ's down 1% and pushing here. Amazon's bounced off 118. It may be a little early to get out of this name, but we're going to get out of it anyways. And then before we just do a little video here, I want to talk about getting out of AMD if and when we ever take down this $100.90. We are long at $100.57, and we've been cleaning up AMD here for sure. But right now, AMD to the downside. We just took out of our Amazon for $3. That was a monster win, so really happy about that one. We'll continue to short Amazon. And without any further ado, let's give it back to Brendan.
All right, guys, we've had a ton of questions lately about this current market and the conditions that we're dealing with. If you're a new trader, getting into a market of this state is kind of difficult. Doesn't mean to say there isn't long opportunities. In this video, we're going to tell you that just because we're in a bear market doesn't mean there aren't long opportunities, whether it's intraday, guys, or on a swing basis, 2-3 days, even a week long. Some of the better opportunities, in fact, from a volatility standpoint in a bear market can be on the long side.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to look at. I think obviously, you know, one of the things that you think about for long opportunities in a bear market, and sometimes you just want to think about how a stock reacts to bad news, right? And for a lot of times, no one's going to be able to pick bottoms. I think we all understand that sort of gambling and saying, oh, this is the bottom, I'm just going to buy in because this is a level on a chart, or it's a 10% or 50% or whatever percentage retracement. That's asking a lot. So a lot of what I'd be looking to see for individual names that might give you an idea is what is the reaction to bad news. And just in particular, I want to sort of highlight like the poster child for that might be Target. I guess there's a few other ones in the last little bit, but Target, you had just retail wreck on earnings. You then had them reiterate some issues with their inventories. And if you really think about what has happened at some of the lows for Target, like when things have been doom and gloom, I'm talking more on the short-term intraday trade, and maybe we'll get to it potentially breaking out in a second. But on the short-term trade, what I've found is if an overall ridiculously beaten up name has a monster gap down and it's just all pre-market, all you're hearing about is how bad things look and how horrible the bottom is, just watch out for one thing. If it makes a significant low, and I'll zoom back out so that you can see on the 15-minute, and by significant low, I mean take out its recent bottom, this 145.50. And I remember this because I said this to myself, and I might have even tweeted it. If it takes out a 145 bottom, holds the low in the pre-market, and never reclaims that level. Right? At the open, was there anybody selling it into that previous low, 145.50? Nope. Did it break that bottom at 143? Nope. Sometimes that means it is just a long. Now, it's only been a long for a couple of days here, and I know it hasn't broken back out of this channel, but so far, even in a down market like today, it hasn't really broken these lows, and that's the reaction I want to look for. And so when you have these beaten up names, just look to see if there's follow through. If everything is doom and gloom and everyone thinks it's just got to continue heading down, a little tiny sign like that even in the midst of all that panic selling in the pre-market, it couldn't make a fresh low, and then it held the higher low at the open. Well, the next step is a breakout. I mean, if it's not going to go down, when it puts a gap like that, it's not going sideways all day. Stocks don't gap down 10, 12, 15% and go sideways all day. They just don't do that. So, you got to think about what the other direction might be. And sometimes that can be a good way to find yourself some short-term longs. And then if it breaks back out if it were to break this channel on a day where the market is red, I think you can definitely be confident getting into it. But just look at how something reacts when it's a doom and gloom type of day. Are there buyers at the open? Sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah, great suggestions there on beatdown names and a name like Target. I mean, I really like that name as well. I'm going to give you one more idea that just worked just now and gave you a crazy return on something that you didn't even really have to do, and that was watching splits, right? I mean, we just had Amazon split. I have the chart up right here, so let's call that up. Amazon, we knew was splitting right here on this day. So when you look at a chart, you come up June 6th, right, is when it came out as the split day, and it goes all the way up here to the 50 period. But look where we started. Just a week before, we were down here at 103. On the split day, you went all the way up to 128. That is a 25% move in 1 week before the split. Okay, all right, Sean, you know what? That's Amazon, right? So, okay, maybe that's over with. Is there another split coming? Well, hey, let's answer our own question. What about Google? So Google is there another split coming? I believe there is. So let's talk about Google right now. You want an opportunity to happen before this split right now. The date of record is July 1st. Who cares about that? Let's talk about it the week heading into it. It's going to be July 15th for the Google split right now. So Google's been an absolute monster, right? It's obviously fallen back down. This is one of the first times started back in February where we actually started to trade below the 50 period, which is this blue mark right here. Obviously a nice move back up as well here for Google recently. But when you come into July, I believe we will trade somewhere around, I mean, again, calling a price is a little bit tough. The point of what I'm getting at here is after July 1st, we're going to have the Fed come out tomorrow. It's only June 9th right now. So we're going to have the Fed come out next week, raise the rates a bit. We know they're going to be raised in July. I feel like it's baked in. So what I would do is wait for like July, remember it's July 15th. So I would maybe wait for July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, start nibbling in, even buy some calls here on Google. It happened. I could call up Apple chart, look at that split, look at the Tesla split, look at what Nvidia did heading into their most recent split, right? I feel like Google has a chance to go. Google's PE is at a 5-year low of just 17 right now. Their cloud business is number 3 behind both Amazon and Microsoft. So their cloud is super strong. And they are the number 1 as far as digital ad revenues right now. So, I mean, I feel like you're not buying low quality names. Amazon, I don't like. I don't like the retail sector. And they still got that bump. Amazon got that bump in the face of Target, like Neil talked about, in the face of Walmart, right? And Google is its own standalone company. YouTube could be its own company, the way those numbers are getting pumped out. I like Google. I think in a bear market, you want to buy the best names. Not only is Google the best name, in my opinion, but you also get the catalyst of the split. For me, it's Google. It's early July. Start buying now if you want. You still got a month of volatility, so that's the only risk there. But if you're looking for a bear market idea, try Google before the split for all those reasons. Their PE, the cloud business, their ecosystem, the advertising. Google is the name you want to own.
I love it. A couple of great ideas on the long side. It's been a negative market since January 1st. Pretty amazing to think that we're coming up on July, guys. It's been 6 months of nothing but selling, it feels like, anyways, in the overall market. Not the case, though. Some of the best opportunities in a bear market on a volatility basis can be on the long side. ALT, wanted to mention quickly, just popping up on a volume spike. If you go back to the beginning of the pandemic, Altimmune was a pandemic runner at one point. So I'm going to look this up a little bit more. But ALT, guys, on a big move today.
Oh, yeah, it's not the only stock beginning with A and making strong moves. AERC making a power move. You know, I was actually long this thing. And right before we came back on, it stopped out, didn't get through VWAP, but now it's starting to churn. Now it rug pulled at 12, did the old like wick top and then give you an entry back in and then flushed a dollar. So I did have that short at least, so it's not all bad, but yeah, it gets back up to 12 even. And where is it? There we are. There's a daily chart. It's not it's a double top to yesterday, I suppose, when you look at 12. Ideally, that's kind of why I was looking at that short, but room to 15 if it can go. So this is another one of those, man. It's just a little wick bottom, you know, held the support level that it put in after the pullback day and now trying to break back out. So if there's chances to buy the dip, maybe we'll try to give it, if it pulls back, maybe we'll try to give it like 11s, really just try to hold it to 11.50 or 10.50, sorry, check that, 10.50 and see if we can't participate. I don't love these breakouts. I've never been a huge fan of going long on the break. because then it's hard not to have too tight of a stop. So if we get a chance to be part of this party, yeah, we'll definitely go for it. Now the market just broke lower, and I'm kicking myself. I did say Alibaba was 13 to 12, and you put a trade plan on for something like that, just thinking you'll trade the range. It made a big bottom off 110, and it felt like the market had a chance to break back toward at least the top of the range. Didn't do so. So the scalping of it here is not going to look good, but that was the plan going into the trade. So that's the only defense of it, and we're still not at that 110 level. But man, we're going down to this ES. Watch out for 40.65 here. If we bounce, anything you like to the long side, that's kind of where I'd be looking for. Like maybe AMD holds 150, and we bounce in the futures there. Maybe that 110 holds on Alibaba. That's about the level I like to the long side on Baba. It's going to be that 110. Even Tesla getting pretty close. It hasn't broken the bottom yet from this morning. It's still holding 730 pretty well. So Tesla, it could bounce from here. The market holds that 40.65 on the ES. The NASDAQ makes an attempt to get back above 1250. I might like Tesla just because risk to reward, it's 730 at the bottom here, and you can still pick it up for 33s. And then remember Home Depot, still on the New York. Home Depot at that 303 level. It's starting to consolidate here. You do have a bottom at 302.5, so I think you have to give it to that. But the risk to reward, as I said, a little bit better trying to play it off of that support than where I was taking it. I probably jumped out of the short too early and then into the long too early on that 307 double top. So let's try to be a little bit more patient with Home Depot. But I do like it here. You give it to that 302 half, and if the market can bounce, we can be good to go. So this, hopefully Tesla, I'm not sure we're going to get the fill we like. But Home Depot will take. Baba's not quite there yet, and AMD still a ways away from that 150.
All right, June 9th. Okay, just want to make sure that we do that. There we go. Okay, so just talking about some new ideas here, maybe. The thing about this whole thing is AMD is like, I don't know what's going on here. It's holding this 100 level. Like, as Neil was just talking about it, and so is Brendan, the market now down here at these day lows right now. And for some reason, AMD is like not even really that close to day low. I mean, its day low is where we have it, $100.50. But like, I just said before we did that video about Google there and about bear dips and stuff like that, but like 101 just held, and I'm surprised I didn't just push the buy button there on that. So I think we can do that now. Like, let's see if we come back in. I mean, we'll put an order like around, I don't know, not 110, sorry, 101. 101.10, something like that, and see if we can hold that bottom and then get out, guys, on a break of that same $100.80 or so if that does come through. So we'll get that order set up, ready to go. If AMD comes back into this area, we're going to hold it out and see if we take down here. It'll be a really small risk trade, but I don't know, it's holding out pretty good. The name that's not holding out the greatest right now, obviously, would be this, down to 188.60. So Meta, we're trying to buy a little bit more down here. This name's been falling down, but like I said to you before, I'm not putting in real capital well, I mean, I have real capital in now, but nothing like what I want to do and we're very close. I want to see what this 188 means, man. So let's see if we come back down there. I'd rather lose on this one a hell of a lot closer to 188. So if Meta can come back into 188, then that's where I want to start loading it up. So I do have a bigger order. Like, the biggest order of the day for me on this stock for sure is down at 188.30. It's very, very similar to the order. And I told you yesterday that we had the largest position on Facebook at the end of the day. We'll look to do it again here today. Very, very similar to how I felt about this Amazon level up here at 124, 120. Actually, today it was 121. But this 121 level, I really want to put on some risk when we get up to here. And we just took that out, by the way, for a great price, 118.30. So that's right where it is now, but it just went back up to the 60s there. So we'll see. I want to average into Meta and see where that goes. AMD also, man, still continues to be strong. So far, so good on this one. But market heading southbound. And we already know why. It's not like tomorrow's CPI. I mean, that I don't feel like inflation's going to be any better. I mean, I don't know what you think here, Neil, but with the gas prices still going to the upside, like, that's going to play a factor. I'm just, the market going down today was no surprise to me. Most of everything on the sticky note was a short today. So, we like the short side of this. We'll get more talk about this when we get back. But right now, what's up, Brendo?
Speaking of negativity today, I just noticed this. Peloton It won't be all-time lows, but it could be the all-time closing low, down 7% here for PTON, guys. Just saw some volume come in.
So keep that in mind when people start talking about the Roku rumor, like Peloton, like that's in this market. It's just if something gets propped up because there's potential deal, if it doesn't happen, it gets real ugly because it's floated and hung out higher and been propped up by this. And if the market continues down, you just get woodshedded. Got a question about RDBX. So we had a couple of longs. And so like, look, we had the 10 long, and then we did add to it at 980, the break 10. It got you this little move here. And I probably should have taken the 980s out when it failed here at 10 even. But I gave it back to VWAP, and then it stopped me out. I actually don't think necessarily this is done. The breakout started at 960. That was the initial price that I tried to get. So I could see it holding. I mean, it just kind of did. I could see it holding above 960 and giving you another entry price. It's just, this move here, I'm not going to give it past that. I'm not going to be long that 980 in the 10s and then hold that to 960. I'd rather just make another trade. So I'm not saying it's dead. I'm out of the trade for now. It won't be a total failure, although I could have definitely taken some out and done better with it. But it's enough for me to move on for it temporarily at least. And then Peloton obviously, but I wanted to talk to AERC. That was the other one. This now starting to pull back, right? So I wanted to buy some dips on this thing. Now it's going to come into this $11. Sure, 10.50 would be great, but if it consolidates up here at 11, it might be worth it for a bit of a scalp trade into that long side. And we talked about the futures for a second. I just wanted to slide on over to that ES. We did, and this is the first kind of weaker level here. We did bounce off of this. We haven't really tested 40.65 on the ES. We've gotten like within 5 points of it. And whenever we get within 5 points, we bounce. If we get through that, the bigger level is down here, 40.25. But that's why I took Home Depot. In case we bounce off this, quick little scalp to the long side. And I believe we have a bit of a treat.
We talked about this segment.
A bit of a treat for you. We did talk about the segment. Somehow we forgot to tee it up a little more aggressively. Morendo, surprise him.
Yeah, back by popular demand, and hopefully the first of many to come. We are so happy to have Sonia Lois with us from Las Vegas, Nevada, our guest trader of the day, joining us to talk a little bit about the market, talk about the overall week ahead of what is to come tomorrow. Sonia, it's great to see you, by the way. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Brendan. So nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well. Let's jump into a few things, happening with the market overall today. We touched on Tesla early on this morning. Initial strength with the gap to the upside on the upgrade. Some positive numbers out of China. Tell us what you were looking at today, if anything.
Well, what I was looking at today, I have a lot of stuff I look at all day, and I am in a lot. But BRQS, it was something I was looking at, and I know it did a little quick jump today, and I'm still looking at that. So I'm working with that one. But what I really look at always is Rivian, Mullen. I love Mullen. I love the EV side of everything. And another thing that I was looking at, I also look at Tesla and Apple, always Apple, and especially with the CPI report coming out tomorrow. I'm interested to see if things go down. And as you were speaking about 10 minutes ago, that's the best time to jump in for long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be an exciting morning tomorrow. Again, 8:30, we'll get an inflation update or consumer price index update, at least from the U.S. I'm going to pass you off to Neil and Sean here. We'll get back into the market and back into trading. Great to have you with us, Sonia.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Sonia. But I just wanted to ask you first a couple of questions.
Rivian,
One,
Rivian.
What is the art in the back? And two, I'm very curious what you were doing if you were trading a little bit of Rivian. In addition, I think one of the names you mentioned was even a penny stock. So Tesla, Rivian, EV space, Mullen, as well. Is it really just about a comfort level with the EVs? Is that what it's all about, or is it specifically you just like those charts? So just give me a background about your style there.
Great. I really see a future in EVs. I know it's coming up. I feel like right now is the time to get in long term and for day trading. And I just love to see the move of it. I really think Rivian is a gorgeous car. And I kind of want to have like this side story that, one day I bought, X amount of shares, and, 2 years later, I took those shares and I bought, one car cash. And that's my little cute side story of how Rivian worked for me. Maybe in a year or two, you could bring me on. I could tell you all about that story. Mullen, I think Mullen is a beautiful car. And I think at $1, how could somebody, $1, I forget, I think 20 or so right now. How could someone pass that up? It's a great price. And I think I'm a car girl. That's what it is.
Sonia, how did you, hey, what's up? Thank you for joining us one more time again here today. Why did you get into day trading? Like, was there something, maybe a life event or something like that on why you got interested into day trading, and how long have you been day trading?
So I wouldn't call myself a day trader. I would say more long-term and some swing. I'm working myself up. I watch you guys all the time. I'm working myself up to day trading.
Okay.
I was always interested in finance. I was in the business world for a very long time. And then when COVID happened, I saw all that opportunity. And when everything kind of crashed, I was very excited. I wanted to jump in, and I never looked back ever since.
So and you don't have to tell us. It's like, we've had guest traders on before. It's up to you whether you want to share positions. But Mullen specifically, one of the things I always talk about is I started out as a day trader. The first strategy that ended up making me money was trading penny stocks years and years ago. I won't say how many. But when things get above it was a lot. When things get above $1, it's a psychological level. All of a sudden, it gets this interesting little floor. And then now you've got a higher low, this 115 to 120 level. And I see it just, once again, you get the breakout off $1, holding that higher low. There's a couple of ways that I think this could be approached. 120 is even giving you some cover here for some trades, or a matter of just sitting in the consolidation and saying, as long as we're above $1 or 90 cents, we think we can be off to the races? Or is it just like one of those, like, I'm holding it forever type of situations? Just kind of curious what your take is on Mullen, because when it does give you a spike, I mean, it grants you 20, 30, 40% moves on a day. So are you trying to capture those, or is it just about holding it forever?
So that's where my buffet of trading comes in. So on one side, I was on the Mullen train way before it was even popular. And I have some, and it averaged out to under, like, I think around 97 cents. And I have a couple I keep there. And like you said, the psychological level, it's under $1. So I'm never selling those. Like, those are good ones that are going to grow, and I'm going to keep there. If it goes again, like under 90 cents, I'm going to keep buying more, packing them up, because I just love that number. Now, on the other hand, on my other side of my other platform, that's where I move them. I'll sell them. I'll have fun with them, and I already made back the money I put into it when they do those jumps.
Oh, I like what I hear. Yeah, made the money that you put into it.
Pay yourself,
that
baby.
You pay yourself and then play with house money, right? Like, it's a smart thing. It's a lot of people try to get, you must try to move too fast and roll it, throw it all back out there, just continually risk. What ends up happening is you end up blowing up accounts when you do it that way. But if you build and build and build a bankroll, then you can stick around in the game longer. I mean, I love hearing stuff like that. It puts a smile on my face, because it means that people, and yourself included, have a chance to actually last, as opposed to try to do too much too quickly.
Yes. And there's another stock that I kind of wanted to bring up, because we have Meta. Facebook changed the Meta today. And I think there was like a time where there was popularity. We're talking about Meta. And then after a certain point, people start slowing down talking about the metaverse. And there's a lot of metaverse stocks that, to look into the future. Right now, especially tomorrow, they might be at a really good buy-in to go for it. One is Matterport. Matterport is kind of like, I forgot, it's like space recognition. I think it's called like 360. So when you go to something like a real estate site, that's the technology you see. When you don't have to actually go to the house. You could go in, out, side by side, each room, see what size the room is. And that's the technology supposedly they're going to be using in the metaverse. Right now, it's pretty low, and maybe tomorrow will be a little lower. So if somebody wants to hold something for a long time, look into maybe some kind of metaverse stocks, or maybe Matterpoint.
That's funny, Sonia. Yeah, I was talking about Matterport as well, down all the way. I mean, look at the daily chart here. Been absolutely destroyed. $34. You can throw that on Fahad. $34 all the way down here to $4. But I agree with you. This is a name that I like. I also actually like Roblox possibly there, but Roblox has a few other things involved with it. They had that Paris Hilton did her New Year's Eve party or whatever it was with Roblox. Let's just check out that little look here as well. RBLX, what is it? That's not down 10% today, is it? No, down 6%, still getting killed. But wow, that bottom was 20. So I'm sort of with you on some of these plays. If you're looking for that value, give us one lesson maybe, Sonia, that you had to learn the hard way. Was it a stock that maybe you averaged into too far and couldn't get out, wound up taking a big hit or anything like that? We have a lot of new traders out here that are looking to improve themselves, right? So is there something that gave you that sort of wake up or aha moment? I just made a mistake. I'm never going to make that again. Was there anything like that in your trading career so far?
Yes, there has. I have a good story and a bad story. Today was a bad story. My BRQS, I was a little low on, down on that. So when it shot up, I got very excited, and I didn't listen to the news or figure out why I was jumping. I just said, let me get rid of it because I'm tired of looking at it. But then it started flying up, and then I got fear of missing out, and I went back in to buy a little more. So it's still moving, but I think that when you're in the green, the lesson I'll teach is that when you're in the green, keep going, keep going. Don't sell it. When you start seeing it going close to what you have bought it for, and you want to get out of it, okay, that's fine. But if you're in the green, it keeps moving the green, don't sell just yet. My opinion. And also for the good story to keep in mind, keep a community. I watch you all the time, every day, and that helps me when Brendan comes on and tells me breaking stories. I, keep the know. I try to dig through business reports, business news before the news breaks. So if I like a company, I'll go look, do all my research, see what kind of products they're coming out with, what day it's coming out with, and then I run with that. Like Mullen on the 27th of June, I believe it's going into 2 indexes. So I'm keeping my eye on that. So if it goes down tomorrow, I'm going to pack up on my Mullen.
All right, Sonia, thank you so much. I mean, some valuable lessons right there. I'm actually stuck in Meta right now. The market is tank city right here
we just hit
as the NASDAQ keeps on going down. So, Sonia, I'm going to thank you. We're going to get our viewers back to this market. I'll throw you back to Brendan and wrap this up. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. We appreciate your time. Sonia Loyce joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hopefully we can do this again. Thank you, Sonia.
Hi, Brandon.
Have a great afternoon. Yeah, lots of stuff going on, guys. Let's jump back into some action.
The market just did a bit of a turn.
The market here, bang, right now, blow up city right here. My Meta didn't work. That 188 came and gone pretty fast there. We just got out, literally right now. I told you there with Sonia that, we were in trouble a little bit here with Meta as that just kept on falling down that 4.5% today. So down goes Meta, down to 187.50 and still making moves to the downside. The trade that I missed that I had a big position going. I don't know. I have to find out where I crossed down to. I'm surprised I didn't get any shares on this. But Amazon, hello, flush city on AMZN right now. Nothing but love to the downside on Amazon. It just broke 118, man. Like that short that we had earlier, 121 out at 118. Kaboom. That is crash city right now, down for Amazon. And again, this is a name that we were all over this morning. We love that short. I love the Meta long against that 188. So maybe if it comes back up, we could test it. But right now the market is throwing up all over itself. And I'm just really upset that I'm still in a small Meta. You'll see that there, but I've gotten rid of the majority of it. That was the last average in we had, was that 188.23. We got out on a 188 break. So about 23 cents on the last part, but we wound up losing about $1 or so on the whole position there. So that wasn't great, but Meta, again, a hard name to trade for me today. Downside just kept on going down. And then honestly, guys, Apple is the biggest disgrace for me because we were only short until I decided to flip long, lost, and then we didn't go back short. So unfortunately, Apple continues its slide down there as well. Oh, and then AMD, we tested that long. Oh, that trade here at 100. Okay, AMD alert, I'm gonna take this long at 100. I have to do it to test $100.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100, man. I was about to say the same thing, so I'm glad you got over to it. But I will say, I actually did try a couple longs. Home Depot obviously blew out. Thank God we had to stop because it's $1 lower. So we got out of that one when it broke 302.50. But Novavax also took out the low of the day, barely. I was trying the long off the bottom. That was another short. that, and I talk about opportunity cost, man. It's just got away from Novavax and way too early. The stock, I genuinely feel bad for executives at that company. I've said that, I'm saying that to Brennan Enshaw in the last couple of days. Like, imagine after all these years, finally getting off the hump, get that next stage for your approval, and then all of a sudden you're hitting recent lows, like within a couple of days. It's just to sell the news, and they're actually in the dumps right now. But 100 on AMD. I'm not unconvinced Amazon doesn't hit 100 either, but when these stocks as a day trader get to levels like this, you're just gonna go long in front of them. It's the same way you short Tesla 750. It's the same way we short Tesla 1000. Go long when they hit the even dollar levels. Just a good day trade. Like, you saw what happened, when Baba was taking out some of those even levels. They were just good in either direction. I think we'll get the same thing potentially with AMD down here at 100. I don't see anything else that's at a gigantic level other than this.
Sorry about whistling, that's probably too loud. But wow, to the downside goes AMD, continuing to go to the downside. Everything is falling out. I'm beside myself that I don't have that short in Amazon. We really tried. We tried that, but I don't even want to look at Tesla because I'm going to say to myself I should have sold it again, and it'll be the same rhetoric over and over. But we tried that 118 break, man, and I crossed down. I don't even know how much I crossed down. I was going to say 10 cents, but I feel like it was more than that. We missed it. I don't know. That one candle there on the break back down, like, that just went to I guess it wasn't that bad. 117.77. I feel like, oh man, like, that short would have paid for my Facebook long. That didn't work. So anyways, we don't have that, but there it is right there. Amazon breaking back down through 118, and the saga continues. Wu-Tang on that one. But I'm going to the Wu-Tang concert. You know, you have a good wife when she messages you about a couple weeks ago and is like, hey, Wu-Tang and Nas is playing at the Molson Amphitheater there. Now it's called the Budweiser stage.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Budweiser stage. Yeah.
Molson Amphitheater.
Yeah, I thought it was, exactly.
What?
And she's like, yo, do you want to go see Wu-Tang and Nas? And I'm like, is this my wife? Yeah. But so we're going. We got tickets there. A few friends going to that as well. That should be fun. And that's not until the summertime. But anyways, Wu-Tang Financial, get your bonds straight with that. Look that up.
Diversify your bonds.
Dave Chappelle right there.
Diversify your bonds.
Diversify your bonds with Mr. Dave Chappelle and Wu-Tang Financial. But okay, here goes AMD, man. We're long at 55, 54 here. No stress on this trade yet, but it's coming in right here. So watch out. Here's the daily chart for AMD, looking like it wants to take down a hundy, man. And if it does that, you got to watch out below. We'll be here for that trade, but we're long now into this. That wick the other day was $100.40, which is right where we are right now. That very bottom is $99.50. So it'll be a big hit, but if that 99.50 comes into play there, then I'll be a sad man today. We're going to go long right now. We're long Meta still. This already broke. Unfortunately, it's not going to work on our chart, but you could see Meta today, ever since that symbol change, it opened at 198. Okay, this is a 20-minute chart. Like, I don't know how else I can show you this. I can show you 1 minute, but I mean, right? Says enough right there. Stopped about at 189. That's where we started the long. We are taking the long into 188. It broke. This is what it looks like on a minute chart. Still just as disgusting. There's me talking it up about 189. It's broken lower, man. And I honestly, I don't really have a bottom pick for this. We'll wait. We're still in this trade, but it's small. We're holding a little bit of shares. I don't think that's even appeared to be the right call either. But yeah, all the way to the downside. This market is really throwing up over itself right now.
Oh yeah, the defecation is on. So why not? Like, look, if the market wants to crap all over itself, then why not try? I mean, like I said, I would stink bid and get into Tesla today if we got down into those 20. So yeah, I finally got it at 26 here. I'm starting that AMD. Hey Dom, I saw your super chat. Thank you very much. DBVT, we'll definitely get to it. And apologies, obviously, we're trying to track things. When the market moves like that, it's hard not to go over to those big caps that you were looking at. But that's a big runner. It just put a huge triple top in. Oops, I went the wrong way on you guys there. The daily chart, not a heck of a lot of a story to tell, unless we actually get back to like $4. I think I always look at when it capitulates, like where's the initial bounce, and that was like the 415 or so, and then the consolidation was about here, 330. So that's where it already turned once at that 330 level. I wasn't on it, so there's basically no chance for me to catch that trade. If it does carry through, it's got room to, like I said, about 4 to 415. Yeah, I might dip into this. I mean, it actually has some room. And sometimes, I'm not saying this is always true, but sometimes when you have these really weak days, the market just is flushing at this point. These runners or these low floaters, when they have a chance to go, they can catch bids because there's really nothing else attractive to buy unless you're day traders like us stepping in front of big levels and looking for them to hold, right, and scalp out of them. So yeah, 280, get a consolidation there. It's already held once. If it can hold it again, maybe higher, you can get like a 90 to a 3, give it to like 270, risk 10%. Then you're like 1-to-1 to the high of the day, and then if it gets to that 4, you can then make your bank that way. So yeah, definitely not a bad look there. I would have, and I would have shorted this if I had paid for shorts and been on the stock. I would have shorted 330 for the 10% here. Like that's a style I'll do every single time, and sometimes it runs you over, like that PBTS, which
where's that?
A little bit of a bounce here finally in the market, but I'll show you PBTS. Not a good one.
That's not run over. That's trying to catch. That we have a run us over. Here it is. Oh no, this is. I think you're you're throwing me under the bus here. What? Ooh, that's. Yeah,
that's a little morbid.
That's a little violent there.
What?
Do you have the other one? I don't know.
Shoot, I thought I did, but I think I have the other one too. I have one where I'm running after the bus. I have one where I'm chasing.
How about this one?
Like, what is that about?
Oh, that's missing the boat.
Missing the boat.
Missing the boat. But
I
think that one that I just
ended up jumping on top of the bear with you there.
Might be the most appropriate rate up in here. Okay, so right now, AMD, hallelujah. This is bouncing right now off that bottom. Unfortunately, it only went down to $100.30. I'm at $100.11, so we missed that fill on the downside, but it is coming back up a little bit. I say hallelujah just because there's a little bit of relief. I don't have any idea where to take this thing out. I mean, I should have some kind of an idea. It just went up to 60 there. I mean, that's crazy to hold this thing like we're long at 50. We just held that against us 25 cents. Kind of crazy to take it out when it comes back in the money 10 cents. Let's see if it can get back up to this dropping spot here, $100.79. Let's just put an order right there right now in case we get back up there. Like I said, we'll get some out at 75 and then we'll put it a little bit higher than that after that and see if we get something out in the 80s for that trade. But we do have we do have a new trade on. We just got filled again. Oh, come on, Softy. I thought this one could be a nice little, we did actually have a winning trade on this, but then not any longer as that just came in again, and it looks like it's going to take down this 267 area. And if it does, we'll get out. Like Neil said, I'm just trying to throw some darts at some of these levels and really hope that not just if they hold. I mean, these are quick scalps, and it costs money every time you lose. It's bad. But at the same time, that very bottom, and again, we'll look at it again, if this doesn't work out for us, we'll look at it. But that bottom for Softy, remember when they reported that they guided a little bit lower on that last play there? First of all, I got to call this up because if this rips, then I got to have something on board. MSFT, I mean, I already have it on board, but I got to get
Microsoft?
out. We're long at 16 or 17. Yeah, no, it was the guide, right, that I was trying to talk about there. Where's the 20-minute? When they guided lower right here, it was that bottom of, no, that's 20-minute. It was down here. 265. It was 260 though, wherever that was. Down here, it must have been this day no, it's not this day. Anyways, whatever the day was, where Microsoft reevaluated their guide. They went from 235 down to 224 per share. That bottom was 260 flat. So we'll look out for that. It's right here. Here's the day. I have it on eSignal, a little bit of a better look here because my days are divided better. It was this day right here, June 2nd. You see, we ticked down to that 260 area. We're still far away. I'm just saying to you, Microsoft has the ability to continue its movements to the downside here. So, let's not get too crazy. There's that bottom that I was talking about on the chart there of 266. But again, to hold something all the way down there in this market, I already have not a full position, but enough shares here that I'm just not even holding it. Even if it's just a couple hundred shares, I don't want to hold this one all the way down back in. So hopefully this can pop up. And again, a couple hundred shares, if we make 50 cents on it, we'd be happy. So let's see where this can go from here. But Microsoft right now continues to bleed to the downside. Yeah. We're long at 17. It's not the end of the world on this break, but still, a break is a break and money is money. And it's going to be coming out of my account in about a minute here once we break down through 267. So Microsoft can't find a bottom, it seems like, either.
Yeah, it's frustrating because like there's a lot of shorts I had this morning, and it's just I didn't see re-entries into them. There was an opportunity, like I said, to get into short in Tesla. I didn't, but when I see this happening in the future, you break a shelf like this, you head 30 points down on the ES, and then we're right into support on Tesla. It's just for a day trader. If I had a short pop, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I did like Alibaba and ended up scalping. I should have just hung on to some of Alibaba. But for Tesla, I was going to go long all day off of this level. If it manages to hold here, fine. Like it's just one of those things where the futures is flushing and you're actually trying to hold a reasonable bottom of previous support in Tesla. So I like the risk to reward. If we get a bit of a bounce, I think we can get back into the 30s. But if it takes out that 722 half. It's not the quarter, 722 half. We're just going to have to walk at the exits. And then for AMD, it's just that 100 level. And when I say I'm angry at myself over Alibaba, you can always make two trades, right? And one of those can be like, just get into a few more shares and say, okay, well, I'm going to scalp a portion of it. You have the same stop on it, but say I want to hold a little bit more, and then that second entry point, yeah, the first half, I'll have like a stop at that high or like 10 cents above it. But the other one, I'm going to give it an extra like 40 or 50 cents on the second half, but I'm going to hold that short for a bigger move down into that 110 level. Now remember Alibaba 110? Oh my goodness, why is this what happens in a flush? As a day trader, is everything comes into a support level that you really liked before, and then suddenly you have to ask yourself, do I want to be long Tesla in front of that 22.5? Do I want to be long also AMD at 100? Do I also want to be long Alibaba down 8% at 110 as the market is flushing? My quick answer is no. So I'm not going to put the Baba at 110 trade on. I'll just stick with these two. And if I'm going to go over 2 on them, there's no need to jump into a third. If the market is going to make any kind of a bounce here, obviously the other 2 are likely to work out. You don't need to throw another one out into the ether there. And I promised I'd show it to you guys, and the market's going crazy, and I don't want to lose sight of this, because I don't know if anybody remembers back to like day 2 on DWAC. Day 2 on DWAC, there was a GameStop day, there was a day on Sundown. If you watch the show long enough, in all 3 instances, I'll tell you, but the only thing that went right in PBTS is that I wasn't short 30 times. Or 27 times on that DWAC day. It was about a dozen times short. And I even said to a couple of people, and thankfully one guy listened to me, it was Greg, the stock's going to 150, but I was not patient enough. Like we took our nice little tight stop shorts here, and then we waited. I did not wait for $1. I decided to play it off 90 cents instead of waiting for $1. It's fine to play it off $1. It's fine to play it off the halt trade where it actually started working, 125s into 105s. But each one of these other little dart throws where you're just losing 5-10 cents at a time doesn't make any sense to do that. And then you know what happens when it finally makes the top? You never have enough shares because you couldn't get squat at 148. I got a tenth of the size at 148 that it was just handing you to all those other shares. So when it does eventually make the flush, yeah, am I going to hold on to some of it right now like I still have a bit out of sheer revenge, thinking it doesn't really matter. Maybe it can actually break back below $1. But the truth be told is if you can't execute it where you're trading the same size at each level, then it means that either you need to scale down at these levels or understand that you just got to wait out for that one trade at the top. And the risk of that is that you don't ever catch it. Like you don't actually get in when you really want to get in. That's just part of the game. You've got to be willing to miss the trade to get the trade. I know it doesn't make a ton of sense, but trust me, it makes a lot of sense in practice. You've got to be willing to miss the trade to get the trade because the trade was at 150. And I didn't think I even said it, Dom, that at 150 made sense. And on top of that, another note, it was 1/4 cent for locates. That is insanely cheap for a stock that was moving as much as it was, which meant that anyone and their mother who's a prop trader at this firm or anywhere else would have been like, it's going up on no news. I can just short it to oblivion. It's going to come down. It has to. And it's really cheap for me to make that trade. A lot of times you're paying a higher percentage to make that trade. Everybody would have been looking at this. Way too crowded. You had to let people get flushed out over and over again. I didn't get shut down, but I deserve to get shut down today on this stock. There's no question about it. It's really just out of pure frustration that I stopped trading it and then waited for the 150. Because once it stopped 135, I was like, this is stupid. Stop doing it. Anyways, back to Tesla, back to the market. I promised myself I was going to talk about that one for you guys and pick this moment to do it. Tesla did bounce off that 722.5. Oh, I have a wick at 690. So anyways, the low of the day looks like it was 723, so very close to getting to that bottom. Not quite to that low. Now trying to make a bit of a bounce. I'm just looking for an out in front of that 28 level, an out around that 30, and out somewhere in that 35. I don't know if we can get to 740 today. If you think the market's strong enough that we can make that kind of a bounce, congratulations. I'm not sure I want to hang my hat on that. So if I can get the first leg out somewhere around here, I don't know, probably in front of like 727 half, and then 730, 735. That'd be fantastic here on Tesla. AMD, it's getting close to that 100 level, man. It's kind of barcoding down here. I think it's going to give us that shot, and I do want to see what's on the bid. Like, that actually matters, right? If there's nobody on the bid at 100, I didn't get a look at it just now because I was ranting. Did you see the bid?
No. I mean, I've been buying more ahead of this. I got back into Microsoft. I got back into everything. And yeah, like, I don't know if so many longs are trapped. I mean, that's a good point. I did want to address, and someone answered it right away for us. So what's up to Yaz right now? Yo, Yaz, what's up? Cool picture for sure. Right there. What's up, Yaz? How come no short positions, bros? Obvious flush. Yeah, and the problem is, and then someone said it right here. Taz, good question. Yeah, that's true. And I said the same thing. I forget where it was. But the point was here is that someone said because all the shorts are gone. And that's right. I mean, it's just we're so low at some of these levels right now. Let's go softy. We're right back on this name, guys, on a move back up to the upside. And again, it's just like there's a point where things have gone too far, right? I mean, Neil just talked about that trade on PBST there and, you know, taking that short and getting run over, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's a point where things get squeezed too much. You're only down 1.7. I mean, I don't think, look, let's not get it twisted here. I mean, I've been long all the way down and it's been brutal. But right there, just like what just happened on Microsoft there, you know, there is some, and we talked about this, how do you make money in a bear market when the market looks like this, right? And I mean, honestly, there are going to be some levels that you could test. We tested it, it broke, then we were like, okay, now we have that bottom, maybe, let's test it one more time. And you could get lit up doing this. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Neil just talked about that PBST trade, and it's just like that happens to you, man. You got to keep going back to the well if you believe in something. And honestly, this little bump up is enough for me. Like, do I think Microsoft can go all the way back up? I don't know. In this kind of a market, probably not. But now we're getting a nice bump to the upside. So yeah, we're going to take 40 cents here. Plus, now 50 cents in the money. Remember our loss? Look where we got this. 20s, 12s, out 97s. That's an average loss of about 15 cents. We're now in the money 55 cents on this trade, right? So you go back and forth with the name. We are now positive. How you like that, Microsoft? We're now positive on that name here. I shouldn't have said that because now it's probably going to tank back down and take all that money away. But right now, Microsoft, that's what you do, man. And there it is right here. So sometimes you got to try to catch those falling swords. And there's Meta as well. We just pumped into that one long. This could be very, very dangerous. We are back long Meta, a hell of a lot of shares. I got to get some out.
Yeah, and look, I didn't get any more of that AMD. Obviously, I was sort of giving you guys that little bit of a rant, but I think it was an important one. And trust me, I think put it in the chat there. Like, I actually had a single trade in Sundial once that was worse than like that collection that you saw there. One shot on Sundial that was once worse than that. AERC, it's so easy to get distracted and get away from some of these because look at the way that I ended up bouncing off VWAP. In my defense, that was a pretty heavy wick that you saw. I'm not sure you're really getting 1050s or anywhere close to 1060s. It just wicked down and recovered. So it looks like it's trying to go, showing a little signs of strength there, that AERC, and always worth looking at, guys. But finally, now AMD's down at that $10 level. Looks like it's finally going to get to go. If you're looking for something that I felt like could have been, I mean, WFC, I know where it's going. I'm a little surprised Peloton is doing what it's doing at this point. Ugh. Like, if Peloton's like this is actually testing a resistance level, interesting. But this 1140 level on Peloton does look like it could be a little something for a short side trade. Now I get a look at AMD, by the way. That bid, I don't see much of anything on that 100 level. Maybe it gets closer and there's something there, but I'm not really seeing much of it. I'm shocked at Peloton, 1140. I mean, if the market goes to the upside, I don't want to punch long Peloton 1140, but if the market wants to make a fresh low, I don't mind taking a short, risking 5 cents on Peloton. But at this point, Tesla might reclaim those lows. I did trim some to ensure that we get some profit on it. But now AMD, 100 on the horizon.
Oh man, that AMD 100, yeah, that's going to be a problem for sure, as that's coming out now, or not coming out, but coming into play right here, down at that Hundy mark. So watch out for that one on AMD. Okay, like, yeah, things aren't great over here. So we'll have to just continue to watch this, man. Meta, I would love for that thing to go back to the upside. I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen or not right now for Meta. So watch out for this one coming back up to the upside right now. We just got a piece out on Microsoft again, as that tried to make a move down, came back up. We're just sort of trying to like lick some of these wounds here. Like I said, it's not really up. But Microsoft right here trying to go back up, and then there's AMD right now staring that $100 in the face. So as this comes back down, watch out here. It's going to take out 100 for sure right now. So watch out for AMD coming into play down at 100. Really. So watch out here. 40 cents of the money on Softy. That seems to be the name that wants to work now. Here comes back for Meta, back to life a little bit here. The only problem with Meta is it's had a hard time breaking through. So hopefully this can come in and we'll be able to get out. But as you can see, like I can't even, it won't even break. Like it breaks 188 and stops. Like, so hopefully that can come through right now. Meta is on my watch right here, back down through 188. Look, it doesn't, I think there's too many algorithms on this name right now. Like when you see it locked up like that and doesn't want to break, like there's something happening here. So Meta right now, I feel like I'm in trouble on this name. So we'll try to lighten it up. Microsoft's obviously working, and there goes AMD off that $100 level. But Meta seems to be a problem. I really want it, I mean, it needs to break this 188 and hold, but right now you could see it just keeps on printing dark pools, see, and doesn't want to go through. So I'm going to have to adjust this.
Yeah, I mean, here's the level 2 on AMD for you guys. Right now, I only have my NASDAQ book going deep enough, so now that it's bouncing into the teens, when I scroll down, you can see there's the NASDAQ book's got 39,000 shares on it. I saw a couple, that's the biggest gateway. I saw a couple of others for like, 15, 20,000. So look, I get it. Like those are not small numbers, but it's on 80 million shares, and it's a pretty significant level. The market is bouncing. You think it would grow a little bit. It's not nearly as big as I might have thought, but like it's not, like, there's some serious selling that has to take this out for it to get through that, obviously. But it's not a gigantic level, maybe not as big as I'd anticipated. I did scalp some out the first time, so my price is 11s, only because when I got some at 25s or 30s, I did get some out at 50. But if it breaks, this I'm not really thinking about, I got Tesla here, so I'm not really thinking about holding it past that level. I could see a wick bottom, but I'd rather get wicked out of this and maybe try to hold on to Tesla and then regroup. If it does a wick bottom and holds 99.50, I think I can always get back in. Although as I say that, it's 325, which is a little bit later in the session than I was anticipating. We are much closer to the close than I thought. So it's a one and done. It might just be a one and done here. So it just broke. And I remember I turned around, someone said, it's big size on AMD. I'm like, that's not that big. It took it out, it saw it on the bid, and took it out. It was on level 1 and gone before I could even flip to it for you guys. That's how fast it took out that level. So I'm out of it. The only long I got left is that Tesla long. We'll see if it can hold. Maybe I get a shot. I should have just gone into Peloton, but it's not really moving. I'm kind of surprised this isn't flushing further than it is. AERC, which is the runner I was looking for, not exactly the kind of entry that I would have looked for. Another capitulation into the support level. Nah, man, you got to at least try to consolidate here to give me some kind of an entry point. It just feels like, yeah, I mean, look, AMD at 100 is a big difference between, pick it up at $100 and I'm holding it till, until my daughter's 18 or till whenever, forever, till I pass, whatever it might be. There's a big difference between that and buying it here and then trying to get out of it in the next like 10 to 15 minutes, right? So I'm going to stay away from it, at least for now. Coming back over to Tesla because everything is challenging these lows. It had a nice bounce. Like I said, get some out in front of that 27 area, but right back to these lows of the day. Brendo? Oh, sorry. Actually, yeah, I know Brendan was actually going to talk about ALT. Yeah, that just resisted a down halt, by the way. Like it tanked, resisted exactly that 10% mark, 845, right down into 780. Not exactly, but very close to it. What will happen is you'll get a capitulation flush, and a lot of buyers will look to that halt band, and they'll just try to stick their bids in, saying if enough buyers pull in at a previous support level and it doesn't halt, the shorters are that got it up here are gonna be covering en masse. You get a nice little recovery bounce. And really, has this stock really actually taken through more than one level at a time? Yeah, it's pulled back, taken out one breakout level, but never the second. Taken out not even taking out one here. And in this particular case, it took out one breakout level, but not the second. So that kind of a trend a lot of times can continue. I wouldn't jump into the long here because I don't like getting in when you have that large. Once it puts it like the near 10% move in, I'd only look the other way. Brendo?
I'm just going to mention that ALT. Also, there's a note on Tesla. Day lows, guys, for Tesla. This just coming out. The U.S. Traffic Safety Agency saying the step before a possible recall on that look into their autopilot safety probe. So that's ongoing. But they've increased it or upped it, I guess, to the step before they're going to force them to do a recall.
All right.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, like, don't hate the messenger. Look, you don't want to trade blind. That's probably going to get Tesla through the low of the day. So the last of this trade is going to likely be a loser. ARC, hold it down.
Oh yeah. Halted down. Okay. It seems like some of my stocks are going to be halted down in a couple seconds here. AMD, we're down now 80 cents on this trade. It did break through 100. I just like now the NASDAQ's starting to ramp up a lot, right? And so as that continues to move to the downside, here goes AMD again following it. We'll take it one more time. We do have that 99.50 that could possibly be there, man. And yeah, that's going to be a tough trade. Microsoft was a good one. I mean, we made it all back there on Microsoft, almost all back before it fell back down in one more time there. So we're gonna have to watch out for that. The market on close imbalances are like not good right now, about 800 or so to the sell side. So that's not very nice. What just happened right there? Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft just came out a little bit. No, sorry, we bought more down there at the day's low. That was strange. I didn't realize I had a bid down there. So let's start to clean some of this up because you got to make sure I don't get into too many positions here before we get going a little crazy. So we'll have to watch out for Microsoft coming back down, Meta coming back down as well. We said, like, the thing is, we were able to get out of the way a little bit of this Meta because remember when it was at 188 and it was like something's going on here. It's like it's not breaking. They definitely want to sell this to the downside. And you can see even right now, I still feel like there's something fishy happening here. Like it doesn't want to take out these offers. Every time it tries, they line it up again. I know it looks like it's happening on both sides, but realistically, it can't get going upside. So we'll hold on a little bit to this and see where we can go. But so far, not great here today as these downside moves continue, man. And that's what, like, I'm pissed off about a lot of stuff because we started the day short, right? And I tried to hit 118 short. Look at these Amazon trades. These are all shorts here, but we covered a small piece, and then it just kept on tanking like that. I mean, Alibaba, these shorts up here, like, thank you, come again for this one, all the way to the down, like 110, like, are you kidding me? So right now, we're just gonna have to watch and sort of try to lick some of these wounds as we go. It hasn't been a great trade today here in the afternoon to go long. We know CPI is tomorrow, man, and a lot of these levels don't seem to care about anything as the downside pressure continues. Look, even Meta, man, like, the market's not bouncing, and neither is this name. This name is sick right now, down to 187. This is low for Meta. Like, Facebook just yesterday, just a couple days ago, was actually at $200 right here. This is yesterday. What am I talking about? Yesterday was 202, right? Straight shots fired right to the downside here on a new symbol alert. Meta, like, where's it going to stop? Thankfully, we last bought this in the 170s, but you could see that very, very soon. Taking down 187 right now. Then after that, like, I mean, how far are we just going to keep clicking downside before we find some support? We should have got out there on the 188 break. We tested it. It looked like it was faulty. So now we have to sort of pay the piper here by holding this $1 against us. So Meta just continues to make a move to the downside. And to Yaz or whoever that was that put that was a good opportunity. I can't say that there wasn't any opportunities to short. I saw that 188 on Meta, and I should have taken that into the short side. So, can't blame that there's no opportunities. There is. That was a good reload spot. I definitely take responsibility for not being long or short, reversing out of the long and into the short on that one. So, yeah. I mean, I could cover.
There was a couple of other opportunities. I mean, I'm out now. It's like, could have reversed AMD at 100. Alibaba gave you an entry point. Maybe on the way back up here, AMD at 100 could be a bit of a thing. I just want to quickly, because it will open back up, by the way. ARC is going to open because we're not that late in the day. It's indicating a flat open. Watch out for $9. It had the wick off bottom there. When sometimes all rugs get pulled at the same time. So watch out for any of the high flyers. If I'm forgetting to look at one, it's not on purpose. I'm just looking at these big caps and trying to think of ways to get into the short. I might Peloton's not moving enough. Otherwise, I would have taken that short off 1140. The volatility didn't feel like it was there. AMD, if it's going to be a short the pop situation, fair enough. I think we have a chance to still run. I'm going to quickly slide over. We broke that first support channel, I'd say rather convincingly on the ES. The bigger one is looming about 20 points down from here. So there's still some room to the downside for this. And I know we're going to get some possible indications as to what that imbalance might be going into the close. It would have to be something to give this market a bit of a bounce. No idea yet what it is from Financial Juice, but when we get it, we'll let you know. I don't know if it's going to help much, though.
I thought I saw someone type it in. It was 800 or something. Yeah, 808 million. So okay. 808 million to sell to the downside here. So not great here, as we're going to hold out for a little bit more pain here as this market's trying to bounce around a little bit. I mean, to say that this market's bouncing when it looks like this is just not, just close the chart, is not correct, because it's not really bouncing. I mean, the market continues to go down. We're going to load it up again here. Chart should load right there. Here it is right here. So let's just look at this one more time. Ooh, that's not good, as Meta doesn't want to go up. I mean, I don't know why I'm long this name when I've just identified that. But right there, man, the market's trying to bounce off this 12.350, and yeah, with tomorrow looming, CPI coming tomorrow morning, this market only has a half hour left before those numbers come out, basically, right? So yeah, that's not great. People not expecting great numbers from the CPI, as the NASDAQ right now ticking lower, 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 and our net is going lower, lower, lower as well, as we hold on to some of these longs, and the longs just aren't paying off. There's no love for this. There's no bump back in. So yeah, just this pretty sick market here today. So we'll have to recover from this at some point. There's Meta right now breaking through 187. So we'll give this one a little bit more to the downside as we're against us $1 now. Microsoft's against us 30 cents, and AMD's against us 60 cents. So yeah, I mean, I'm holding these shares. We're sweating it out a little bit here, but we're still not really at any sort of levels for me to get out yet, but we're getting pretty close, man. I don't really have one for Meta, which sucks because we're already below that 188. I should have reversed into that short. Let's see if it can hold out. But hey, if this market's going to sell off, the best decision is to get out now, right? Because the more I hold on this, the worse these things get. So let's just be careful here. That there's some targets there. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Typhoon? I mean, before I even said that, you are 100% right. As I look up and you say the same thing. No, I can let go of Meta. I feel like it's just so far down. I feel like when I get out, but someone just said there, take the loss. There it is right there. What's up, Typhoon? It's not getting better. Yeah, I mean, and I think you're right. We were trying to hold these out for a little bit. It's not like they're monster losses. We've already had some big winners today, but still, you know, it'd be a red day for us, and we hate doing that. Doesn't happen often, so a little shell-shocked right now, but here it comes back up to the upside. Let's see if we can get going. See, Softy was really the one to choose, man. We're in the money on this trade, so let's see what Meta wants to do here as it's battling back, or sorry, AMD as it's battling back a little bit, but just as the market tries to go, it just comes right back down. So yeah, any kind of a move up definitely needs to be sold so we can take out some of these positions. Second red day this week. Yeah, I guess. I was red Monday. Was I red Monday or Tuesday? Yeah, one of those days.
Oh my God.
We haven't had a red month yet this year, but yeah, if I keep going long in the month of June, it seems like there might be some red days coming for me right now. So we'll wait to see what's happening now. But hey, that's trading, right? Every day the casino's open and you come back and see what you can do. Tomorrow's sticky note should be hot fire, but might be some shorts on there. Remember, tomorrow, CPI, man, everything's going to change.
Yeah, we don't know what that print's going to be. I mean, it would have to be a pretty big slowdown in inflation, I think, to stop this moving freight chain. Like, we finally broke a channel to the downside, which hadn't been happening. I take a shot at AERC below that $10 level. We'll see if that actually ended up working out. I mean, that's one of those like jump to a setup that makes some sense and usually I put on anyways. But I'm kicking myself over AMD. There's no question. It actually gave you 99.90, and these candle wicks are pretty thin when it spikes up there, but it did give you 99.90 on the way back up, and I was kind of trying to catch it on the way back instead of just standing in front of the level and taking the fill. Like, just take it. It doesn't even matter. Even Alibaba here, like, you know, I'm going to shake my head at this one. Like, it's whatever. We didn't get it, but the long that I didn't take, I was like, you know, I got AMD 100, blah, 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 Tesla. And then Alibaba 110, of course that's the one that holds the low, right? Obviously, it's Alibaba down 7.5%, which is holding a higher low and showing relative strength in this market, because that's how it works sometimes, right? You can see the one that you don't have is the one that'll be good. And for a lot, probably for that same reason, like there just probably weren't enough people still in a long trade here. They've all given it up. So it's not falling. That's why Peloton's probably not falling. It doesn't mean jump into the long here, maybe not. But if there is a bounce, If we somehow flush another 10, 15 points on the ES and we're still holding the low in Alibaba, then the risk reward makes some sense. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to take a 110 break down on Baba. I don't want it in the range. I want it when it's coming out of the range. I didn't punch AMD when it broke. 110 in Alibaba will go for it. Brendo.
Just a heads up, guys, on AMD. I mean, the whole market coming off here, but there was a special analyst event from AMD that started at 3:30 there, so a heads up.
Good time. I hope someone upgrades them during that event, and we'll see what happens. But I'm still here on AMD, man. I mean, the market. And again, I feel like if I sell, it's going to go. But, you know, whatever. We just made, something's bouncing back up here. We just made a little bit of money there. It probably was AMD. AMD was as low as, 99.40. And, my net is swinging like, I don't know who, like something pretty hard right now, as these moves are pretty nasty and pretty dangerous right now. AMD right back to the upside. We could take a little piece out and start, like I said, just start to like, figure this market out a little bit here, but a nice little spike now back up. So yeah, let's just, I mean, whatever. We'll take a little piece out here on some of these names that we've been getting clocked on a little bit. That's 186.30. And again, like we're out of the money on Microsoft 11 cents. We're out of the money on Meta $1. We're out of the money on AMD 50 cents. Like this is not catastrophic. It seems like it is because the way this has been happening, we keep complaining about this market going to the downside, and that's exactly what it's doing. But at the same time, there are some trades to be found every once in a while. So Neil just reviewed a few of them for you as well. That AMD back upside, we're trying to clear some out. We just took a little piece out there. We're in the high 70s as well to get, I mean, I might just take a little piece out right now again. Just ripped through 73, so we take some out. We're going to get out a little bit of this name. And then Meta was the one that started to go there quickly, and it got to 187 and then completely stopped. So right now we are going to get something out there around that 187 mark, and we just made back a little bit of cash there. Like I said, most of these positions are a couple hundred shares for me. So hopefully we can get a rally back, make a little bit of money on these, and then we'll call it a day, a -1. But if that imbalance is coming out at minus 800. Oh, man, it's probably even more now. There it is. Yeah, see, the market just drops right back down there. So we can't even take a break here. This market just keeps on spinning to the downside. Take out some more. The reason why I just keep on getting out more AMD here is just it's the one that's actually retracing back upside, giving me some relief there. So, hey, if it wants to go up, I'll be here. But for now, let's take some out as, it's not getting any better for sure, as per Typhoon Trader there. We've basically gone straight up since COVID. Yeah. I think it's a healthy thing to pull back. I mean, obviously, this right now has nothing to do with COVID. This has to do with, the policies that were implemented during COVID, right? The government has to raise rates now. We've seen what inflation's been doing. You just go fill up your gas tank and then, tell me how that felt. But yeah, these are some of the problems right now in the market, and they're not getting any better, right? So unfortunately, the market wants to see that CPI reading tomorrow. It's going to be most likely, if you take what happened this afternoon as anything, it's going to be pretty nasty. So, I don't know, man. Meta just keeps getting clapped. Microsoft now going to the downside again. So, I don't know, man. This big tech is the wrong space to be in, man. Like, probably the banks might be holding out okay in this kind of a rally.
I doubt it. Here's actually...
Well, better than these tech.
Yeah, better than possibly. I think one of the things, and Frank made a good point, I was showing you guys a 60-minute for the futures, which I usually do, but I'll pull up the SPY on a daily just to get an idea of what just happened. Like when I said we were in a range, I know in the 60 minutes, it's the same range that I would have shown you, but this is what it looks like on the daily, on the SPY. Hugging the 50 period, bouncing, rejecting the 50 period, not even getting that close to it, to be honest with you, and then breaking the channel to the downside. Like we just broke this channel here, right now, on the ES. So, when we say there's downside room, that is a huge capitulation. And sometimes we say when in doubt, zoom out. It's pretty instructive because that's a significant level that got taken. I know there's some support a little bit lower than this on the ES, maybe like 15 or 20 points lower. But that's a significant level that got taken out on the SPY. And when we did, you can see the acceleration. That's why you're getting so much acceleration to the downside. There are individual names that are trying to catch bids here. AMD's back up to that 980.
Yes, sir.
We talked about I've been looking at Tesla a little bit here. That's actually holding the 720 level for now. I'm not going to jump into that long. We'll mess around with AERC. If it holds below 10, I'll try to hold that into the close, see if it does another capitulation in there. I think you already talked about Microsoft. Alibaba, which I showed you, is continually holding this 110 level. I don't know how it's happening, but Alibaba just had a wick bottom, failed a break. It got about 8 cents, and then snapped right back to the upside. I mean, if it held below, it's just like, yeah, go short. But it doesn't even want to hold below 110. So one of the weakest names all day long, one of the only shorts that we had on here today, is showing relative strength, which sometimes the market doesn't make sense. I don't want to jump into the long trade. I still want it to hold an offer below here, and then I'll just jump into the short side of the trade to see if I can catch a trend. Starting to get some shares out of AERC on the way down to 9 even. Obviously, if I want to get it out at 10, I'm going to be taking a win all the way down to 9 even and trying to hold some just in case it does another. Probably not going to halt, but another flush down. But right now, my eyes are fixated on this 110 battle in Alibaba. If you wonder where that level comes from, it's quite simply where this went too far there. Where it broke out yesterday it just went gangbusters when it took out that 110. It was the previous pre-market high. You saw it just start accelerating when it got through 110. It then put a hold just below that level this morning, and then you have a bit of a battle happening, which looks like it's being won by the south side, but it still can't go more than 5 or 6 cents below 110, which is just not enough.
We just took a little bit of advantage there on that pop up into AMD. I mean, getting out of some of our longs, and then it retraces right back to the low of the day. So, we are, like I said, we are trying to lick some of these wounds, and especially on AMD. And right now we haven't averaged into Microsoft at all. This is the name that I thought had a chance to go upside. I think a 266 break, we already talked about that level. That's probably enough to say see you later to that stock. 266 break, and it sucks, man. Like, that's really... so the position that I'm the most upset about right now, I'm not overly upset about anything. It's just like this meta, it's just like it's $2 ago. Like, that's where we're long, man. Like, we're long at 188. I could have been out of this trade with very little damage done almost no damage done at all. But we're not, and that's the part that sucks because we're holding on to shares. It's $2 lower, and we sniffed it out at 188. Like, that's, we were talking. I mean, I can even go back. We were talking about that right there. I was like, look, it's not breaking 188. Got to get out, and we did. These are actually winning trades right here. But the problem is, it just after that, there was absolutely no love, and it couldn't get going. Every single time it bumps up here, I mean, first of all, the futures are down, so there's really been no bumps. But as I watch this, every single time it tries to bump up, it just, see? Like right there, it goes to 186.05, and you're like, okay, and then boom, 186 comes. So there's a lot of work to go upside there, and it's so much effort to get this name going that I mean, I'm gonna have to drop this probably right here. Let's just average this out. But yeah, things getting worse here as the number probably is growing into that closing imbalance. So watch out now. This is gonna be a wipeout bottom for sure on these futures. So watch out, man. A CPI tomorrow, obviously being priced in. So I just got to get out of some more meta and just sort of say that is what that is on this stock.
I know, even like Baba, we might be slowing down. Like, I'm looking at the ES, which isn't slowing down. I'm watching Baba finally hold below that 110 level, and it still won't go. So sometimes you just got to understand, like this name, for whatever reason, and I could probably come up with a reason, which I shouldn't say here. There's some buyers that tend to defend this stock that might be in play holding it at this level, which is why I shouldn't have gone over to it. That's going to be my guess. But I did. I'll give it a tighter stop than normal because it is A, late in the day, only 12 minutes to go, or 13 minutes to go until the close. But B, if it doesn't want to go down in a market like this, like let's not fight it. The bigger mistake was why am I messing around with Alibaba in AERC when look what AMD 99.80. It's like, okay, well you want to short it. You get so accustomed to anchoring yourself to 100, not willing to just jump into it right in front of these levels, which you got to do sometimes, and that would have worked out. I mean, Tesla continues to flush, could have reversed that off the low of the day. It's only gone a couple of dollars, but you know what? At least you're jumping into the trend. The real trade on Tesla, I think, to get into the short should have been the 730 break. And I think what ends up happening to you is that you get anchored to a support level, and I was anchored to a support level from yesterday, which didn't allow me to want to short here because I was looking for a long here. Now, does that make any sense? That's a good channel, right? Like, understand that that's a scalpable channel. You know there's going to be liquidity in there. It's unlikely to make one stop in through there. It's $4 or $5. I scalped Tesla for $4 or $5. It could be a trade that you make, and that should have been one in there at 7:30. So we'll take Alibaba. We're in it. ARC, we're in it, but I don't have as much hope as I did a second ago because we're continuing to push down on the ES. Like, give me a break. Like, this is what my futures chart is looking like. We're still chewing down, now 5 points away from the next support on the ES, and Baba won't go a cent. And I'm staring at AMD that I wouldn't take.
Oh man, yeah, same thing happening for me right now. We took a little bit out. Oh no, we didn't. We actually didn't get any fills there. I thought we got some fills at 40 there on AMD, but we didn't. So here it comes right back in when we have 2 minutes until we get to see what's going on right now. Someone just said their wife is leaving them. Sorry about that. Or maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't know what your relationship right there, but hopefully your wife doesn't leave you or you didn't put in too much money into this market. I mean, it's pretty sick right now. So yeah, let's just wait to see. I know that's fun. I shouldn't comment on that, but that's pretty funny anyways. So, remember, this is just trading. Obviously, we do it here for a living, so we eat what we kill, so it means a lot to us, and I hope it means a lot to you trading anyways. But some of these longs, like, this is the thing. You got to make sure that you put the appropriate amount of risk. I mean, like, I'm here sitting here talking like, oh my God, this AMD trade is just so horrible. I mean, honestly, I'm out of the money 70 cents. Like, the only real problem, I think anyways, is right here, Meta. Meta's really the only problem. It did bump back up there to 188.90, and I'm just upset about how I executed it. So to the downside goes Meta. I mean, everything's getting hit probably. I don't know why. Why did I just call it Virgin Galactic? I don't know. That's down to 672. Let's check out DraftKings was another name that continues. It was a big move the other day. I think it was up 10 or 15% the other day, only down 3 today. So, there are some areas here where, it's not the end of the world, some of these moves. It's just, it sucks. It's happening rapidly right now, and it's a rapid decline, and I'm holding all of the big names, right? And I mean, if you want to maybe take a shot on something, Intel, unfortunately, Neil made a joke about holding something until his daughter was old enough for something. That was AMD, I believe. Intel, unfortunately, if you've held this for 6 years, it's at the same level that it was at. So I believe this has an opportunity to go upside as well. Intel has a very low valuation.
I think imbalances.
The imbalances right now, yeah. So let's see where these go. Probably to the sell side. Uber, sell side, Cisco. I got to address some of these positions. So let me head over and see what Meta's doing, AMD and so on and so forth as the imbalances just came out. I don't know what the number was.
Yeah, I mean, I see BAC's a buy. Uber sell 1.5, Cisco, AT&T, Microsoft 9 to sell there. So okay. I mean, they are sell side, but they're not. It's not gigantic, like it's there, but it's absolutely not a gigantic number altogether. Now, I had Alibaba obviously in there. Yeah, Baba, give me a break. Is it really not moving at all? Yeah, not even moving at all. It's not going one direction or another. That's a little weird, man. If it doesn't want to make any kind of a move, I might just get out of this. With only less than 10 minutes, if it's not moving, we should just forget it. But I'm in that ARC still, and I'll just punch out of the last of those PBTS shares that I hung on to out of like a shadow, like almost like revenge trade there. But Baba doesn't want to go. I think that's hilarious given how much the market decided to just move there.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't, like I was saying to you guys before, like, okay, now I'm out of the money 30 cents on AMD, right? So it's like, it's not, these aren't the end of the world type of things, but we are trying to get some out now as AMD does bump back up to the upside there. So we're able to get a little bit out. I mean, I hope this number can sort of reverse itself now. We can go over and look at the imbalances quickly one more time here. I got to get rid of the ARCA ones because we don't care about those. So there it is right here. BAC with a buy. We talked about the banks maybe catching a little bit of a bid here. Let's see what BAC wants to do. Still down that 3.5, sorry. Cisco sell. I mean, everything's a sell here pretty much. I mean, I don't see any of the big names on here. There's JP Morgan as a sell. Uber. Normally you're looking at ones that are in the millions. So you have some big tech ones. ATVI, that's Microsoft. Uber now to the down. ATVI being bought by Microsoft. Uber to the downside, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, things not getting too too much better, but AMD really not moving here off that imbalance. So there it is, another out. We'll just keep on taking these outs, see if we can get our net back to like a respectable loss here today so we can battle tomorrow, which we will be back tomorrow. So here we go, starting to rally a little bit now as AMD trying to go back to positive for me. Like we say how bad this was, it's not great obviously, but you know, averaged in, we're still right almost back in. So hopefully AMD can retake that 100 level. I don't think so, so we're just gonna keep getting out, make this day a little less or more tolerable here so that I too can stay married.
I don't want to worry about that, but yeah, the imbalances looks like is really, I still don't see anything too crazy. We have seen some moves before, but just sort of coming back to the overall futures there. I'll throw the SPY up because I guess that's the easiest thing to do for you guys. S&P 500. A lot of times I'll talk about the NASDAQ. I feel like today, just because of the levels that got broken, that's the one to look at. We just made a huge wick bottom, bouncing off that other support level. Remember I talked about 40.25? We just bounced off that with a huge wick bottom on those imbalances. So it felt like it sold right into the next level. And what makes me sick about this is, this is almost sickening, right? It's like, I've had this line drawn for like a couple of weeks. When I filled in for Arun, some of these levels here, this is what we're holding. Sometimes it's as easy as the floor breaks, you hold below it, and then it goes right down to the next level. That is a capitulation. That is it's not a rug pull, but that's like a clear breakdown, right? And sometimes you just got to look at that higher time frame, that higher level, and understand, find what you like to the short side. Maybe it's the futures themselves, the SPY, the Qs, whatever you like, wherever you want to express the trade. But that's as clean as it's going to get. And I had these for a couple of weeks, and I didn't even make a trade there. So you got to be able to do that sometimes. You get caught up in the individual names that you've been watching because that's where your comfort level will be. But, man, that's about as easy as I've seen in a while. Still some earnings to go out, a couple of earnings to get to that are important. What's on the board for tonight and tomorrow morning? Brendan.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second here. Guys, at that analyst event for AMD, the CEO saying, total addressable market over the next 5 years, $300 billion. Take that for what it's worth. They also said they see a down year this year for PC sales. So just a heads up, AMD back to the downside on that. Here we go. Not much to see, but only one that we'll talk about.
What, you don't care about Stitch Fix? The only reason
just came out with news today.
Yeah, the only reason why I thought maybe Stitch Fix got destroyed today already intraday on some news. So I think that's why maybe it'll be a little bit interesting tomorrow from volatility play. But DocuSign, oddly enough, I mean, yeah, this one somehow was only down 3% today. A little bit surprised that it's not down more than that in a risk-off situation, holding the 50 period. It did break. Well, it did attempt to break its shelf. It didn't really follow through. Maybe it's because of the uncertainty going into earnings. But this is one that I know is going to be on our watch tomorrow, right? If you don't think there's going to be some volatility over in DocuSign, I just got to double check to see what are we looking at for DocuSign's float in there. Yeah, you know, it's not really as short as I would have thought, only about 6.5%. So that's really not that bad. It's about where it is in the chart, which is trying to hold the 50 period. It's got close above, 1 day open and close above, and it's about to close just barely below, which if it were to fall from here, you've got some obvious resistance levels that you can play off of, and then some clear room to the downside, right? The risk to reward at this point feels like it's going to favor tomorrow morning. If we're below 88, which we are right now, you're going to favor some of the shorts, but that's going to be that line in the sand level, that 88. Got to see what happens and where the chips lie tomorrow morning.
Yeah, for sure. So there you go. We just give you an example of making a little bit of money back there. As Meta popped up and we were able to get something out in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now, obviously, it's coming back down. I'm just going to cancel all my orders now because it looks like we're going to get taken out on the bottom here of a lot of these trades. So we were able to make a little bit back. Obviously, you saw us pop out there on AMD. So, I mean, we're still in these names as they get worse and worse for us with only 3 minutes before the close. Like I said, man, the market has 3 more minutes in it before that CPI number comes tomorrow at 8:30. So obviously pricing in the worst. This is kind of cool. Honestly, you may get an explosion tomorrow. If that CPI number is not nearly as bad as they're thinking, you may explode. I mean, you're down 2.6% here today. And yeah, so I don't know. That's something definitely to look at there on that number. So have a look at that tomorrow on that name. Ooh, that's, I went short on Meta there. I don't know why. Oh, that just ripped up to the upside. Oh, because we got out of some. So look, my accidental short here on Meta is probably going to print now, so that's great. But yeah, so far, not a very good day here with only a couple minutes left. I'm just going to manage some of these trades and get out of them. The AMD one wasn't that bad. The Microsoft one, it was really this Meta trade that, turns out to be, the cat's meow here to the downside. So that's really the one that sort of broke our back on that. And I just feel really bad because that 188 showed me that wasn't going to hold. And I should have got out, reversed it, and then we'd probably be positive now, but we're not. So that is what that is, and here it comes back into the downside. See, we get out at 185, and then it just starts printing us short. So now that's going to be a good trade for us. We're getting out of everything else, AMD, Microsoft. Microsoft got really bad real quick there against us, but again, noticed getting out. That was it. Now we're just bleeding to the downside, 265. Tomorrow, 260 Microsoft should come into play. But yeah, this day got really bad real fast, all thanks to Meta.
And I should have held on to AERC. That actually did get to $9. I did take it off because we got a little bit late in the day. With only 2 minutes to go, I was actually perusing my quote board here. And this is not the entire market. It's just what I happen to be watching. 15, 13. Look at all the numbers that are just more than 5% to the downside. I looked at what is up, and it is a list of just a couple of energy names, small cap, UVXY, which that's not really up, obviously. And then Costco and Home Depot are going to finish in the green today.
Ooh.
So, remember we were talking about Costco and that little retail rack, and it held up pretty well? Well, guess what? That's not red today. So sometimes you file these things away, like what isn't complete ass on a day like today? And Home Depot holding 300. Although I say that, Home Depot is literally at 300 right now. So it has 90 seconds to prove me wrong. With 1 minute to go, a big shout out, obviously. Today, if anyone watched the show all day long, which you all should, Prad couldn't make it in today. Luca couldn't make it in today. Ian and Tony handled the entire midday by themselves for the entire time. Just an unbelievable run for both those guys. So thank them. It's just crazy. And then, of course, we got Tony himself back to handle that bell in a few seconds, actually. But this market, by the way, the market did not stop. I mean, give me a break. I drew that line, and we're now through support and continuing to fall down here on the ES. Where there actually wasn't even a bounce off that level. Sometimes it's about those floors breaking. I point it out and take these shorts if it's an individual equity all the time, just not today for whatever reason. Should have just punched the futures short when I couldn't find anything that worked because I had the levels in there for the futures. I'm just not used to trading them, to be honest with you. But enough of that nonsense. We got about 15 seconds to go. Put the camera on Tony. Put a smile on everyone's faces because he always lights up the room. Let's get that countdown going, boys.
There he is. It's Tony. It's Tony the Tiger there, getting ready to ring it with only 3, 2, and 1. Hit that bell there, Tony. And we are now closed for the day. And what a crazy day. I don't even want to honestly, the fact that we were thinking about short today and I held all those longs into the close, big, huge mistake on that one. Look at what Meta did there into the close. I mean, it just I finally went short there and then it just collapsed down in. But yeah, averaged in on that one. This was the problem there, that 187. We got out of the way real quick off of these 188s when we broke back through, but then we tried the long again right there on a 188 break upside. That was definitely the wrong mistake, and then it just kept on puking, and then there's the short at 185, and just went, I mean, we were able to get that out any price we wanted to on the bid right there. And again, this is why the day is even worse than it should be for me, because these are all the shorts that we had to begin with. Up here. No longs on Amazon. It went to 116, and we missed the 118 short punch. So that sucked there as well. And then Alibaba, you want to talk about a name that just got destroyed that we absolutely called, was this 118 top there, and that got destroyed down to 109. So despite all these great, amazing calls, we still finished the day red, which is really the most disappointing thing for me. But let's go over to Brendan and see exactly the damage that was done on some of these markets.
Yeah, that accelerated quickly, guys. Pretty ugly close right through to the bell. Heavy selling right across the entire board. 2.3 for the S&P, 2.7 there for the NASDAQ, the Dow 1.6. But yeah, top to bottom, not good ahead of tomorrow. But on your point, Sean, that you were mentioning there ahead of CPI tomorrow, I did see a lot of other people kind of agreeing with you in that. How convenient would it be that we get this potential buying opportunity ahead of an explosion on a better than expected number tomorrow?
The last time I saw my quote board look like that, the market bounced. Like the next, I remember, I don't remember the day that it happened, but it was like I couldn't find anything green and everything was like 5 to 10, 12%, 7, 8. It was just one of those types of lows. The next day, there was a bit of relief. So sometimes that's what happens when you get the biggest wipeouts. One thing that did come in, and thank you for someone pointing this one out, and I just messaged one of our traders, Micron's back at that 66 level. And I remember the last time we got down, he's been here 4 times and then made nice bounces. I've been waiting for this to break down at this price for quite some time. Remember when Intel was at a level like this on the daily chart, but Micron's is gigantic because it's not just this quadruple bottom. You can also go back to October of last year that it managed to hold this level. So if we talk about shelves breaking, this shelf breaks, oh baby, watch out below. Hasn't broken yet, obviously. We ended up closing at 66 here, but Micron, it's on the precipice, let's just say.
Yeah, Micron. I mean, some of these semi names. I mean, I really like SMH. This might be a great opportunity to get some SMHs as well right now. So that's a very, very good possibility to do. I don't know. Like we'll have to wait to see where this market goes from here. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just been a nasty, nasty day. AMD comes out. I mean, Brendan just talked about this, and Lisa Su, which is a great CEO, comes out and says that it should be a down year for PCs. So that's not going to be great. As AMD today takes down that 100 and now is at that 98.80. Now it's okay. All right, now she must have just said something good. As I just talked about it, now it's through 100.
I got to say something here because everyone's asking where the Tupac bars are. We didn't get to 1,000 likes. It's that simple.
Why didn't we get to 1,000
We didn't get to 1,000 likes.
You know why? Because I didn't ask for it. Nobody asked for likes. Like, honestly, we need to be doing this a lot more, man, because I asked for likes yesterday and we went up to 1.6K. So, like, guys, hit the like button. Let's go. I asked for likes in the morning. We went up from 1.8 to 2.4 super fast. Look at AMD right here, guys. AMD just moving like Lisa Su dancing right now with the market. That just went to 101 there and now pulled back to 98. It's like it's earnings all over again here for AMD as that is starting to go real crazy, real fast. So, yeah, watch it. Now 96. Like, look what AMD's doing. It's almost like this is like event time right now. Oh, yeah, it is. They're speaking right now.
They're having event time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Lisa Su right now talking. It just went to 101 when we were talking about it, and then all the way down to 96. So now back to 98.50. Like, this is wild, man. And it's not like it's on no volume. This is actually trading here. So, wow, what a crazy day. Let's finish this up and wrap this up right now. We'll see you tomorrow. It should be a fun day. Have a great evening from everybody here. Go ahead, Brendo.
As AMD sees long-term revenue growth of 20% over 3 to 4 years. So, I mean, more coming from these comments from them now.
Wow. Okay. Tomorrow's Sticky Note will be shorting Intel, NVIDIA, AMD, all this stuff. Let's see where it comes into play right here. But, yeah, it should be a nasty, nasty one. But for everybody here at Trader TV Live, get ready. What was that?
DocuSign. That's got to be a miss.
Doc, everything probably a miss right now. So this market's nasty. I'm hoping for a good CPI print. We'll see if that can save the market. Sleep well if you can, and I hope you're not divorced. We'll see you tomorrow, 8:30, Trader TV Live. Ciao, guys.